Here we are. Yes.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to a very special episode of On the Line. I'm your host, Chris Avalon, and yeah, I know initially. Oh, hey, Sailor Mermaid, she in the building. I know initially we were supposed to kick off Chris Avalon Unfiltered today, but we're still working on some kinks and getting all the graphics and everything together. So we're probably gonna officially start it around the 17th. Now, I was also thinking 17th. I was trying to go to Folsom Street East, bitch. And I think my friends are having a party at Rock Bar that weekend. I think it's oh my god, Purgatory. They're having their party, so I'm trying to work some things out. But we gonna make this happen, and it's still in the process. But in the meantime, I was like, I had to come on the line and give y'all a damn show. So that's why we here. We in the building. We got a lot to talk about. We got a lot of movie news to get to. We're gonna talk about. There's a lot of shakeups with the Fast and the Furious. Dwayne Johnson is speaking out about what made him want to come back. I got my opinions on that. We're also gonna talk about Kim Cattrall returning to season 2 of And Just Like That. We also got some Real Housewives tea. There's a lot of shakeups going on. Ratings are falling. Ultimatums are being made. People may get fired. We don't know what's going to happen, but I got my opinions on a whole lot of stuff that's going on regarding a lot of these housewives shows. And Real Housewives of Atlanta, their ratings are falling. There's shakeups going on over at Jersey. You know, they're on pause. Andy Cohen, is got himself between a rock and a hard place. There's a lot of stuff going on with that. Him trying to have to figure out what's going on with that. Also, we got some Vanderpump Rules team. I know I do not probably look like the type that watches Vanderpump Rules, but look, this whole Sandoval situation, I wound up getting sucked into the matrix of it all. So I'm gonna get my opinions on the bitch. Oh yeah, we got some Drag Race team. There was another story that I heard about, but I'm gonna say that for next week. There's a story that came out apparently about Elliot Page. He has a new book coming out. I think it's called Paperboy. And the gag is that he said that when he came out of the closet, there was an unnamed actor who threatened to assault him in the sexual kind because they did not believe that Elliot was gay. So I'm gonna look more into that story, and I'm gonna work on that, write the article, and then we'll probably save that for maybe next week, or I'll probably do a TikTok on it. But yeah, I heard that and I gagged, child. I'm like, what is going on? And first of all, I'm mad because you ain't revealed who the hell it is. You should have spilled the tea. That's what I would have been like. Stop. I hate when people leave like anonymous stuff and don't want to reveal who it is. But then again, you probably have to do that because you don't want to end up with a lawsuit. So sometimes you got to protect yourself. But I'm like, who we canceling? Because I want to know. I'm ready to cancel bitches. Now when you talking about you gonna try to sexually assault somebody because you don't believe in homosexuality and you work in Hollywood thinking that? Okay, sis. So yeah, so before we get to all of that, before we get to the gossip and things, there was something I had come across, and we're at the halfway mark of 2023. So with us being at the halfway mark of the year comes box office grosses. So there's a couple of movies that came out that Hollywood is all about the big $1 billion films, and I think so far The Little Mermaid's on their way to making that. I know it's a shocker for some. There's only one movie on this list that I got that grossed $1 billion so far. So we're gonna go down the list, and I'm gonna give my opinions on the films. So coming in at number 10, This is basically, yes, top grossing films of 2023 so far. Let me move this down. Number 10, Evil Dead Rise. Now, I actually got to watch this movie maybe like 2 weeks ago. It was on I bought it off YouTube because I have a collection of films. Well, maybe you don't know, but I have a collection of films. If I like a movie and I want to see a movie, sometimes I'll buy it and I'll add it to my collection. The thing that pissed me off is when I bought the movie off YouTube, it was dubbed in multiple languages except the one I speak, which is fucking English. So I was mad. I'm like, where's the English version? Why is it giving me Czech and French and Spanish? Two different Spanishes. You got the European Spanish and then you got the Spanish. I'm like, where is the original version? So I'm sitting there buying a thing and I'm like, you didn't tell me there was gonna be, so maybe it was a mistake on it. I'm gonna look at it again. But how do you get a refund on a digital download? Like, I don't know how that works. But anyway, so far that movie has grossed $144,550,801 at the box office. So that's a huge hit for a film that was a little small independent film. I actually enjoyed it. I thought it was a good movie. A lot of really good gory practical effects. That's what I love in my horror movies. I like, they go gore and they bring up the blood and all that stuff. It's got to be practical. I hate all that digital crap. I mean, if you want to use digital to enhance what we're looking at, then I'm pretty much here for that. Number 9, Scream 6 with $168,961,389 at the box office. And I have my issues with Scream 6. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I love the change of pace that it was in New York and this and the third. I did not particularly care for certain sequences. Like, I just thought like the third act was stupid. And that whole monologue of like, basically y'all just ripped off Scream 2 in a lot of situations. But overall, I thoroughly enjoyed watching the movie. It was a lot of really cool twists and turns. I like that it was just like intense and with the action. But when I've talked to Robert and I, because he's a big Scream fan, and he and I talk a lot. And he was basically saying like Radio Silence is pretty much kind of thumbing their nose at the legacy characters and trying to push more into the whole Gen Z thing. And it's like, you can't be disrespectful and just kind of like just make it all about the core four, which I absolutely like the addition to the show, but you don't need to disrespect Gail and Sydney and all these other characters to big up your team. I was hoping you was going to tune in because you're talking about the whole Little Mermaid situation. When I get to that, which actually made the list, which was actually the next one I was going to go to, I'm going to read your comments and I'm going to respond. So number 8 is The Little Mermaid, which so far has grossed $197,780,029 at the box office. Now, I've heard mixed reviews. One of them coming from Sailor Mermaid, who was like, it was cute or whatever, but it wasn't giving 100% of what he wanted out of it. Because I know you were very critical of a lot of the songs. First of all, you had Lin-Manuel Miranda doing a lot of the music, and love the fact that Lin is where he is in the industry, and he came up from In the Heights, and the other stuff that he did. And I actually enjoyed In the Heights when I saw it, when Steven Spielberg directed. Did Steven Spielberg direct that? Because didn't he also did he direct that and he directed West Side Story? Anyway, I'll look it up. But if he did, let me know in the comments. I liked In the Heights. I thought it was a little too long. Some of the songs went on a little long. I'm like, child, you don't know an edit button when it comes to writing lyrics. Like, not everybody's a rapper either. And I know there were some of the songs in the movie were a choice. I haven't seen it. Me personally, I'm not going to no theater to watch a movie for kids in a room full of children, because you're not going to look at me like my name is Graylin Purnell. I'm not sitting in a room for the children watching as an adult watching the movie. But anyway, so Sailor Mermaid says, so I watched The Little Mermaid, and honestly, it's a mixed bag. Despite the the criticisms I believe you're trying to say I have with it, it's not a bad film. Halle carried the film, and Melissa did a pretty good job. I feel like if it wasn't for Halle, it wouldn't get as far as much because of the unnecessary changes they made, and this as well as the CGI. And you say it's not the worst thing, but definitely had problems. OMG, the song Scuttlebutts was a crime against musical humanity. Yeah, I've heard a lot of people say Scuttlebutt's a trashy ass song. But Yeah, I've heard a lot of great things about Halle Bailey. I almost called her Halle Berry. Child, why your mother do that to you? Um, Haley Bailey. I actually called her Chloe intentionally on my post. I was like, Chloe. They was like, "Ooh, you messy for that." So, same shit, different toilet. But anyway, I heard that Halle Bailey does a phenomenal job in the film. I heard Melissa McCarthy was good. I know a lot of people complain over the fact that her makeup was terrible, in the words of Alaska from Drag Race. Her makeup was terrible. Oh wait, not even her. Didn't Crystal LaBeija use that line too in the documentary that she was in? I think it was called The Queen. Your makeup is terrible. Yes, Harlow. Your makeup is bad. But anyway, let me stop. Well, look, happy Pride, bitch. So I'm gonna be quoting gay shit this whole month. Well, I do it anyway. I do it throughout the year. But because we in Pride, and I should have mentioned that happy Pride, y'all. um, you know, I'm probably gonna be doing a lot of quotes. Paris is burning, all that other stuff. But anyway, so yeah, I heard that it was a mixed bag, that some of the CGI wasn't really working, but that's kind of like Hollywood now. They rely so much on CGI, and a lot of it comes by the time it hits theaters, it's unfinished. That you can still see a lot of the mistakes, and it looks a little rough. And that's because a lot of these special effects people get overworked. There's so much CGI in movies now. I mean, they needed a whole year to work on the Flash special effects, which word on the curb is that Andy Muschietti said he is not getting rid of Ezra Miller. So I don't know if y'all still gonna support this movie or whatever the case is, but if y'all feeling the ways about Ezra Miller and what they did to a lot of people, Andy Muschietti said he going if the movie's successful and there's a sequel, Ezra gonna be the Flash. But all I know is this: if y'all keep him and Disney gets rid, and Disney gets rid of Jonathan Majors, bitch, I'm boycotting. That's all I'm gonna say. But anyway, so yeah, I haven't seen Little Mermaid. I'll wait until it comes on Disney Plus. I'll check it out, and then I'll give my formal opinion. But to me, I'm not really big into whole cartoons and live animation and live versions of live action remakes of animated films. I'm not a big fan of it. The last live action animated film that I've seen was Cinderella, and that's because at the time I worked at AMC. I needed to kill time, so I went into IMAX and I watched the movie, and I was like, it's all right. I mean, I actually liked it and I enjoyed it. I was like, it's all right. But since then, I'm not really big on the whole the regigification. I know a lot of people get irritated by the fact that they do these live action remakes, but look, they make a shit ton of money, and as long as y'all make money, Disney is gonna keep making them. So it is what it is. Now, number 7 is Dungeons and Dragons with $208,139,507. I have not seen Dungeons and Dragons, even though it has been sitting on my Paramount Plus. I believe is showing it. It's been sitting on the thing as one of my recommendations of things to watch. I have not gotten around it. I just moved. There's a whole lot of stuff going on. So I'm still trying to work out kinks and figure things out and get up on time and do all these other things. I haven't had the time to really sit and watch things. But I've not seen Dungeons and Dragons. I've heard good things about it from everybody who I know liked it. Except I believe DJ hated it, if I'm not mistaken. I believe we had this conversation. He didn't like it. Oh yeah, he said it was boring. Thank you. I from what I heard, some people said they love Michelle Rodriguez, but I love Michelle Rodriguez in anything. Like, I've always been a fan of Michelle Rodriguez since her debut movie, Girl Fight. And say what you want, but I loved her in Fast X, and we about to get to that in a second too. Number 6, Creed 3 with $274,448,615. Now, I've not seen Creed 3 yet either. I'm waiting until it actually shows up on one of the streaming services. I know you can pre-order it, pre-rent it, all the other stuff. I have not seen it yet. I will get around to it, like I said, when it ends up on a streaming service. Here's the thing. I'm not going to be rushing. I know there's a lot of movies that are coming out that I really want to go see, but like, I want to see the new Spider-Man. Haven't gotten around to seeing that, but it's just so much going on. I don't have time to just be running to the movies every weekend to see a film. The last movie I saw was Fast X, so we're going to get into that. in a second. I gave my overall thoughts on my TikTok, but I'll rejudge for the show because it'll go into, you know, the topics that we have to discuss. Number 5, John Wick Chapter 4 with $429,508,616. Now, I think this is the biggest grossing film out of the franchise. A lot of people were satisfied with this film. I was satisfied with this film. I don't think we need a part 5, although it was just announced maybe a week ago. The Lionsgate is developing a John Wick 5. I don't know how they're going to develop it at this point because I don't want to give it away if people haven't seen it yet. It is available for digital download. The minute it was available, I went and bought it on Amazon. I wasn't fucking with YouTube because I told y'all about what happened with me and the Evil Dead Rise. Bought that, it came in a whole nother damn language. So I'm sitting there watching it with the subtitles in English at the bottom and another language at the top. I changed it from Czech to Spanish just so that way, you know, because I felt more comfortable watching in that language. But anyway, John Wick 4. I absolutely love this movie. Saw it 3 times in the movies. Don't judge me. It's a 3-hour film, but I watched it 3 times in the movies. Once by myself, once with my close friend Esteban. The 3rd time I took my parents when I came out to visit them at their house. I was like, yeah, let's go. I took them to the movies, went out to eat, that whole shebang. Then when it ended up on digital download, I watched it 4 times. So I've seen it about 8-9 times. Yes, that's how much I love the damn movie. I've seen it so many times this year. The action is impeccable. Keanu Reeves definitely kicked ass in this film. I love seeing a lot of people who were in the film. They did a good job. I loved. No, he's not still fighting for his dead dog. He was actually fighting for his freedom because the high table was coming after him after he went. And, you know, the movie is always about actions to your consequences to your actions. So it's levels to it. From what people have always said is that the film goes through these different stages of grief. Oh, so you saw part 4? My ex-roommates watched it, and I know one of them was too stupid to comprehend and was like, didn't understand how John Wick was getting beat up by a fat dude. And I was like, you fucking idiot. First of all, the guy was in a fat suit. Number 2, that was Scott Adkins, who's like one of the most phenomenal action movie stars working right now. So it's entirely, this is why it's like, and you trying to be an actor and you don't understand how movies work, you ain't gonna make it past being an extra. And that's no shade. Well, actually it was shade. Let me not say it's no shade. It is shade. And the one thing about having a show is I can read bitches and they can't read me back. Anyway, so number 4, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania with $476,021,896 at the box office. I'm going to just say I did not like Quantumania. I was absolutely bored watching it. I remember I was halfway through it. The tone was all over the place. Now, don't get me wrong. I love me. Oh my God. What is that? How did I just draw a damn blank? What is the actor's name that plays Ant-Man? Production's like, you shady bitch. Not Scott Lang is not his name. Paul Rudd. How the fuck I forget Paul Rudd's name? I love me some Paul Rudd. Like, I have a big crush on him. I think I've told y'all that before. Thank you. How the hell? Look, it's late in the East Coast. Sometimes I forget. I have brain farts. But anyway, I love me some Paul Rudd. That man does not age. He's fine as hell. I want him to sit on my face. I have said this many times. Y'all know this by now. For those who follow me on Facebook, which is where I spread all my dirt. And I'm the messiest. So y'all should definitely follow me over there. Don't be like no ill. Paul Rudd is cute. But anyway, I go off energy. My taste level on men's is all over the charts. But anyway, so I love Paul Rudd. I did not like this film. The special effects was a little hokey for me. Jonathan Majors, I thought, did a good enough job as Kang, but he started to annoy me at parts. Like, I felt like you were giving me theater school acting. Like he was doing Shakespeare or some shit. It's like, okay, this is not, we don't need Shakespeare in a Marvel movie, even though sometimes I'll be trying to act like y'all reciting Shakespeare, which monologues and your gravitas and all the other stuff that y'all be doing. But who did? Paul Rudd filmed near your job because they're still shooting Ghostbusters? I forgot about that. Oh yeah, well they have to shoot in New York. So you shot by your job. That's cool. Yeah, so I didn't particularly care for Ant-Man Quantumania. I had it on as background noise. I was pretty much in my phone the entire time. I did glance up every now and again to catch some scenes, but it wasn't necessary. I just felt like all of Phase 4 just was a complete disappointment for me, so I didn't really care for it. Number 3, Fast X with 520,200,727 at the box office. Now that that's not bad, considering that they paid that the budget for the movie is almost $100 million. So they need to make a little more to break even. Like, y'all need to get over that $700 million hump. I think they will do that overseas. However, I don't think it'll happen in the United States because I really feel like at this point, American audiences are kind of over the Fast and Furious films. I don't think they really are that excited for this movie because it didn't really make that much opening weekend. I think it grossed like 60-something million dollars. I probably have the facts when I get to the story about regarding Fast and the Furious. But you know, he's talking about stretching this out to 2 more movies. I was like, wrap it up after the next one, please. Let's not stretch it to another damn movie. We don't need 2 more. We really don't. We don't need a Fast X trilogy. We really don't. I know y'all trying to stretch this out as long as you can, but if the money is not being met, but I guess at this point, does American audience box office really matter anymore? Because y'all really look to overseas to make that coin. Not for part 4. Part 5 was the best one. That's the Citizen Kane of the franchise, in my opinion. Fast 5 is when it took off. Watch Fast 5. Don't stop at 4. The 5th one was like when Dwayne Johnson came in. And we got Reyes, which is actually where Jason Momoa's character comes in because his father was the one who was in the 5th one, the villain in the 5th one. But anyway, so number 2 is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 with 743,859,666 at the box office. I've not seen Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I'm glad I've been able to avoid spoilers. Thank the Lord. I don't know anything that happened as well. I don't know if people died. I don't know if people cried. Well, I do know if people cried. Because I did see some people on my social media was talking about when I saw like they went to go see it. They were like, they cried watching it. Speaking of which, it's the same thing with Little Mermaid. A lot of the people that I know went to go see it was someone that they were in tears watching it. And that they cried and they loved the movie. So critics be damned, and all the racism shit that was coming on with that too. And I'm definitely gonna wait for Disney Plus to see that one as well. I do want to see the final film because I've seen all the other ones, including the Christmas special. So, and the number 1, Super Mario Brothers with 1,282,995,700, and the last number cut off, so I don't know what it is, but overall, Super Mario Brothers, the only movie so far this year that has grossed over $1 billion at the box office. I've heard good things about Super Mario Brothers. I played the game growing up as a kid. I'm not particularly a Chris Pratt fan, but it is interesting how 2 movies that he's starring in, one has grossed $1 billion and the other one is close to $1 billion. So the people like him, I guess, or maybe it's because he's a part of an ensemble. So congratulations to all of y'all. And yeah, let's move on. So before we get to the Fast and the Furious story, there's a story that came out about Jamie Foxx and the latest on his medical condition. Now, I know this was something I just added on, so I was like, let me just jump in and just bring this up real quick, and then we could gloss over it and move on. So there's been stories about, Jamie Foxx had a stroke. Some people are denying he had a stroke. We don't know what the status of his health is. We don't know what he's in the hospital for. Yet we have the people who work for and are family members of Jamie Foxx asking for thoughts and prayers. Now, for me personally, I'm not giving I don't just give prayers out. This ain't no collection play. I'm not collecting prayers like people collect money or just shelling them out like Pokemon cards. That's not how that works. Now, I'm not saying that we need to know like every aspect of his personal life, but if you're a public figure, I feel like you owe it to the public to be like, what's going on? Like, give us something, but enough that people could just back off, be like, you know what? I'm praying for you. Da da da. Let's move on. You can't be a public figure and only want to pick and choose when you want to be in the public, unless you decide to leave your house or you want to be in your house or whatever. You create this fortress or whatever. Then you keep your privacy private. I don't believe in paparazzi or stuff filming or photographing on people's property. But when you leave your house, you're a public commodity. If something happens in your life, you're public commodity. It's just part of the gig. So this was the first thing I heard was because I got a video on social media from Omar, who basically was saying that it was a video of AJ Benza. Now, AJ Benza is a name I ain't thought I'd ever have to say ever again. AJ Benza, I didn't even know still did gossip. But AJ Benza was out back in the day. I believe he worked for the New York Post. He was a big gossip column. I remember there was a story. Wasn't there a story about how he was told some tea about a celebrity and they punched him in the face or something another? I'm trying to remember that damn story. Yeah, it goes way back. AJ Benza was like one of these big heterosexual Guido types that was spilling tea back in the day. It was him. It was why'd I almost say Sue Simmons when she's a damn anchor? Well, she don't anchor it. She don't anchor anymore. But it was Liz Smith. It was a lot of those women back, a lot of those gossip people back in the day. Who was the one that had the big old bun that she was friends with everybody? Giuliani, Trump. They used to, I believe, work for the New York Post as well. They did a documentary on her on Showtime that I couldn't get past 3 episodes. But anyway, so AJ Benza went on, and I think he appeared on Dr. Drew's podcast or something or another. And now Dr. Drew, I kind of look at him sideways too, because I don't know how you an MD, but you out here spewing propaganda like Dr. Oz and Dr. fucking Phil. That's why I can't take a lot of you doctors seriously, because y'all just be running out here with these stupid ass narratives and conspiracy theories. Once y'all get us to a certain financial status. But anyway, so AJ Benza was going around talking about how Jamie Foxx had a stroke and is paralyzed and blind because he got a COVID shot that was forced upon him by Hollywood. And this is a narrative people are running with, especially conservative media. This is why I don't like when people say stuff like this, because conservative media start running around with shit like they was, like what, Fox News. I did a story today. Fox News ran with a story regarding buying LGBT merch at Target. They said they spent a whopping 2 hours talking about it. Because they gotta embed the propaganda and the fear mongering. You gotta pounce on them with it. But only spend a few seconds talking about sexual abuse in the Catholic Church of young boys. So y'all gloss over that because y'all all about God, country, and religion. But y'all want to make gay people seem like we're the perpetrators going around trying to be perverts and corrupt children. So, yes, allegedly, I will say he's going around telling people, he told it to Dr. Drew that he's paralyzed and blind from getting a COVID shot put on him by Hollywood. And so you had these conservative people called the Hobbs twins tweeting, sad as hell what happened to Jamie Foxx. Hollywood made him get the COVID shot and they gave him a blood clot, leaving him paralyzed and blind. Now, what I want to say about this is this. I don't believe any of it. Cindy Adams. Thank you. I don't know why I couldn't think of her damn name. But yeah, there was a lot of legendary people back in the day spilling all the tea. We had Liz Smith and Cindy Adams and AJ Benza. I think he used to go on Geraldo a lot too back in the day. I used to live for that whenever the gossip people would go on the talk shows. And I'd be sitting there with my grandmother watching Donahue and all those and they be spilling the tea. And then they would get and then Joan Rivers, when she had a talk show, she would do gossip. That's what it was called. Gossip. And they have the gossip segment. I used to live for that. That's probably why I do what I do now. Then, Wendy Williams came and all that other stuff. But anyway, I do not believe this story. I'm just going to hold off and be like, until the family or whoever comes out and confirms this, I'm going to take this as rumor. I don't like when people put stuff out here like that without the family even knowing what's going on. A lot of people spilling tea about Jamie Foxx. What's her name? Mike Tyson, said he had a stroke. There's been a lot of people out here spilling tea without his permission. All I hope is that Jamie gets better, that he, that he gets better, because I wouldn't wish this on anybody. Nobody should have to go through this kind of pain and detriment in their life. And I really hope that he gets the help that he needs. I'm sure with all his money and stuff, he's, got the best doctors who's going to help him gain a speedy recovery. I really hope this story about the whole COVID thing isn't true, because we don't need any more conspiracy theories going around with people saying that COVID vaccines are causing people to go blind or end up going through cardiac arrest. I haven't heard any stories regarding people having allergic reaction. I believe nurses and doctors and stuff, they ask you, like, if you have any if you have any allergies or this, that, and the other. Not just gonna poke you with a damn shot. So my heart goes out to Jamie Foxx, and I will definitely keep you guys abreast of the story as it develops. Now let's get into this whole Fast and the Furious story. So I told you guys I saw Fast X when it first came out. I saw it opening night, went right after work to the 5 o'clock show, and I will say this: wasn't that many people in the audience. I thought maybe it was because it was an early show. It was 5 p.m. People were getting off work, so a lot of people weren't going to go to the theater and see the film. But I think but then I started reading more into it, and that's what they were saying. Like, remember when we had found out before the movie came out that Dwayne Johnson made a surprise cameo during a mid-credit scene in Fast X. That was revealed apparently by Universal, because Universal saw the early pre-ticket sales and were panicking because the numbers weren't there. I think fans were so pissed off in Fast 9, and y'all sending cars into space with Tyrese and Ludacris, which that scene was ludicrous, pun intended, that people were looking at it as like, okay, now y'all didn't jump the shark. Y'all did a triple axle over 6 sharks, danced on the shark's belly, dropped that kitty down low in its mouth and it spit you out, and then you twerked on another one. So y'all were just ridiculous with the stuff. Now I get, like, if y'all want to do like over the top action sequences and you ask us to suspend our disbelief, but when you're doing situations like even in this movie, Vin Diesel lifts up a car with one hand, I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, there were eye-rolling moments in this film, and there were certain action sequences that paid homage to past action sequences, but in a way, this movie felt like a greatest hits of things we've seen already, which comes to show that at this point, you guys have run out of ideas. And it may be time to just hang this portion of the franchise up and do what they're trying to do, which is spin off other films and create potential franchises. It's obvious they're trying to have little Brian be the one to carry the torch for the next generation to keep the franchise going. So they're going to center it around Vin Diesel. The only thing that irritated me is, like, everybody's fucking related to this movie. You'd add Jason Momoa's character, who was the son of the guy that they killed in part 5. Then you have Elsa Pataki, who in real life is married to Chris Hemsworth. Her character, who she had little Brian with Vin Diesel's character, her sister shows up in this movie. So it's always someone who is related to someone who's related to someone. Like, everybody related in this damn movie. So I do believe that because the way the numbers were, that back to this, that's why they leaked the whole Dwayne Johnson situation. So now comes word that, you know, his scene in the mid-credit scene was actually a setup for a standalone Hobbs movie. So the Hobbs movie that's coming out is going to be a bridge between Fast X and Fast X Part 2, Fast XX, Fast X, 11. I don't know what the fuck they're going to call it, but it's going to be a bridge between those two films. So I guess a sidequel is what we'll call it. So they said plot details were not available, though individuals familiar with the deal said the new film will, I've already told you, will bridge between the events of Fast X and Fast X Part 2, which is expected to drop in 2025. Johnson will produce the film with Danny Garcia and Hiram Garcia for their Seven Bucks Productions, along with Vin Diesel and Samantha Vincent, who is Vin's sister, because his name is actually Mark Vincent, for those of you who didn't know, via their One Race films. Additional producers include Chris Morgan for his Chris Morgan Productions, and Chris Morgan wrote the script. In my opinion, Chris Morgan also wrote all the scripts for the best Fast and Furious films. When you watch these films, like particularly this one we just saw in Fast 9, you could definitely tell Chris Morgan was not involved in the writing because the films kind of just fell off. Now that Chris has devoted a lot of his time to, he wrote Hobbs and Shaw, and now he's writing this one, or wrote it. He wrote The Fate and the Furious. He also scripted and executive produced Part 5, Part 6, and 7. So he did 5, 6, 7, 8, and Hobbs and Shaw. He didn't write 9. And it showed. But Johnson went to social media and said his reasoning for why he's returning. And he said that Vin and I put the past behind us last summer. Will lead with brotherhood and resolve and always take care of the franchise characters and fans that we love. I built my career on an audience first mentality, and that will always serve as my North Star. So that's what he's saying. He thought at the end of the day, you know what, it's about the audience. The problem is, I don't necessarily know if I believe that. I mean, it'd be nice if you want to gaslight us and say, oh, you just come back for us because the fans want you to come back. I mean, that is icing on the cake. Quiet as is kept, the fans did want Dwayne to come back. Dwayne is, in my opinion, box office Viagra. I believe he had a hand in breathing new life into the Fast and the Furious franchise. And I think the reason why he and Vin had their little beef is because Vin did not like all the attention going to Dwayne Johnson. You got two alpha males on a movie set. Dwayne Johnson's career was like this big thing. You know, his career's taken off. Vin Diesel only has Fast and the Furious franchise to rely on because he's tried doing other things and y'all didn't care. And it showed in the box office. Do y'all want another Riddick movie? I mean, I like the Riddick franchise, but apparently a lot of, they take too long putting them out. And I guess the box office number shows that y'all don't care. Then he did Bloodshot, I believe, and that movie was terrible. Couldn't believe I went to the movies to see that. And that was the last movie I saw before the damn pandemic. But everything got shut down. So, to me, it's comfort food. It's like eating junk food, and it's comforting. And the people that were in front of me, it was like the one thing I love about the Fast and Furious franchise, say what you want, but this camaraderie of, different races. You get to see so many different people coming in this movie. Hollywood doesn't really do that, where they put, people of different races in, as central characters in films. And so I love the fact that Vin Diesel has provided that kind of situation. The problem is some of the stuff in there is just ridiculous. And look, I had people in front of me who had their Coronas, because that is the beer of the film, where everybody drinks Coronas in the movie. So that's a thing. People in the audience, I saw people that were in the audience that were enjoying the film, that were really getting into the action sequences. When, what's his name? When John Cena pops up on the screen, they did his theme song. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, and they did the whole thing with the arm. Like, I'm sitting there just cracking up watching them, because they're doing like the John Cena because John Cena, when he appears in the film, I love the fact that they scratched that whole villain thing the way he came across, because he's not really good at playing serious. Just play up the strengths and being silly. And I like that he was, the crazy silly uncle. Still Memory says, I tried watching the franchise and I was not following the story and fell out. The man eye candy. Well, that's another reason why I watched. There's a lot of eye candy, child. Like look, in this one, they got Alan Ritchson, who plays Reacher in the Reacher series. Now he's in this film and you see all his muscle. I'm like, ooh, them pants is tight. But I thoroughly enjoyed the eye candy too. But I like a lot of the crazy over the top action sequences, even though I roll my eyes at a lot of stuff. I mean, it was clear y'all were trying to take inspiration from John Wick. And look, even in this film, I heard they had no director because the other director quit in the middle of production. And they said that they shot some of the scenes without a director, including the fight sequence between Charlize Theron and Michelle Rodriguez. They said there was no director on set. They basically just did it all themselves. Kind of showed, because the edit in between that, it didn't work. Like, I like seeing them fighting this and the third, and what they should have did was kept it with she fights thinking like, oh, I don't need you, I'm gonna get out of here on my own. She climbs up the vent, opens the latch, realizes they in damn Antarctica surrounded by snow. And then she got to go down like, oh, you need this. That would have really been the joke that could have went on. But apparently when you don't have a director there that knows how to interject that humor and know where to put the cut, that's what you get. So you need a director. But anyway, so I don't believe this story with the whole Dwayne Johnson and the reason why he came back. I think he came back because he realized you make more bees with honey. Quiet as it's kept, he don't really have a franchise to rely on. Black Adam didn't do what needed to be done at the box office, so coming back to the Fast franchise, if there's a deal where he could produce and have his own little franchise and go off and do his own thing, and of course Vin Diesel gets a cut of the money, then that's what we'll just have to go with. And this is business. At the end of the day, you're gonna have to work with people that you don't like. Case in point, when we bring up Kim Cattrall and that story. So with that being said, there's now another story going on regarding Fast and the Furious, that Vin Diesel is apparently upset over Jason Momoa stealing every scene he appears in as the flamboyant villain Dante in Fast X. Now, per Radar Online, despite Momoa showing as villainous Dante Reyes receiving many plaudits from critics and audiences alike, Diesel is allegedly upset with the actor stealing his thunder and believe he has a huge part to play in Fast X receiving many negative reviews despite a solid box office showing. One insider close to the situation says that not only is Diesel displeased with Momoa, but he refuses to take responsibility for the latest Fast and the Furious feature being panned by various publications, saying, quote, Vin is embarrassed. Jason is being branded the only bright spot in the film and stealing his thunder in the franchise he built himself. Well, let's not forget that you became part of this franchise. The first movie did okay at the box office. I guess, I don't know what the issue was with Universal that caused you to walk away and not appear in the sequel, which was Too Fast, Too Furious, which was directed by the late John Singleton. And that's when we first got Tyrese, and Ludacris appeared in it, and so many other people. And Paul Walker showed up and appeared in the film. Vin Diesel did not come back to the franchise until like the post-credit scene in Tokyo Drift, where he made a cameo appearance. And I think from that reception, the fans wanted him back. So he didn't really come back and do another film until part 4, when they killed Letty off, and then she came back in part 5. So for him to sit up, for them to be like, oh, well, he built this franchise, you kind of turned your nose up at the franchise and wanted to go off and do other things like Triple X, the Riddick franchise, all that other stuff. And when those movies weren't popping, then you wanted to come back. Yes, I did love Alan Ritchson as Aquaman. And I believe at that point he was supposed to get the spinoff and it was supposed to be a series and everything, but I forgot. He did mention in a podcast what happened with that, but I forgot. It was so long ago. Here's the thing. I actually liked what Jason Momoa brought to the character of Dante Reyes. He was very over the top. He was very flamboyant. He had painted nails, had his hair up in an updo. He would wear like a lot of flashy clothing. There was one scene where he was literally painting the nails of these two men that he had killed, and he's having a conversation with. Like, it was a lot of the scenes that he was playing. It was hilarious. I liked what he brought to the film, because while everybody else is taking themselves so seriously, Jason Momoa's character is literally in there like, I'm gonna have fun with this part. I'm gonna be silly. I'm not gonna take myself too seriously, and that's that. Now, if Vin Diesel wanted to kind of like be the center of it all, then maybe he needs to stop mumbling his lines and really bring some energy to this character, like some third dimension type of vibe or attitude. And I don't get that from him. You're very one note. You mumble your lines at this point, and it's like you mention family every 5 fucking minutes. And I always said, if there was a drinking game of every time he mentioned family in English and in Spanish, because he said "Lee Familia," "Me Familia." I said "Lee," "Me Familia." When he says that and family and mentions that because he mentioned it a lot in the damn movie, we'd all be fucked up and passed out. We wouldn't get through the damn movie. We'd probably be in the hospital for alcohol poisoning. So, one thing I wouldn't say, would I believe this story? I wouldn't normally, but after we heard what happened with him and Dwayne Johnson, where Dwayne Johnson started to overshadow him, then Dwayne was like, I don't like the work ethic of what's going on in here. Candy asses, he referred to him at one point. Like, the way he is, he comes in very serious, very prepared, not coming in trying to change things and do stuff. He comes in and, takes the work seriously. He puts a lot of energy and work ethic into this film, into the films he makes. He didn't feel that they were taking the work seriously. Y'all making all this damn money being stupid. I mean, being silly. I was going to say stupid, but no, just doing silly shit and wasting time. Jason Momoa to me is an actor. He's someone who's going to come in, do the work, and go about his business. So I don't know if I 110% believe this story, but I wouldn't put nothing past Vin, because Vin does come across like he may have, like, a jealous streak if someone comes in. But you can't be around here being jealous of every person that comes in, especially when you overstuffed your film with so much talent. Now, you had Helen Mirren in the movie, Rita Moreno, Brie Larson, Charlize Theron. Who else? Alan Ritson. I guess they'll bring Kurt Russell back in the sequel, in the next one, because they were saying he was MIA in this one. Yeah, but there was so many characters and stuff in this film, the film felt a little overstuffed in my opinion, but I still enjoyed it. But I should say Fast X boasts a 54% average critical score on Rotten Tomatoes, with the consensus branding it as irredeemably silly, while other reviews have called out the latest sequel for being too congested and full of itself. Well, I do agree with the congested part. It's a lot going on. Oh yeah, so Justin Lin. I don't remember why I couldn't remember the damn name. So yeah, he wound up quitting in the middle of production, and then they had to bring in Louis Leterrier, who directed The Transporter. I believe the first one. I don't know if he did the second one, but I enjoyed the first one. But I'm hoping this isn't true, because you know what? Dante got to come back for the sequel for Fast 11 or whatever y'all gonna call it. And I don't know if he's gonna make an appearance in this other movie with Dwayne Johnson, because they kind of had this conversation thing on a screen, and he comes in and that post-credit scene, he's involved with that. So is he gonna be the villain in that one as well, or does he show up at the end, or whatever? I don't know. I know people have their trepidations about the film, but I'll still see it when it comes out. But anyway, let's move on, because I spent way too much time on that. But so I'm sure you all heard by now that Kim Cattrall will be reprising her iconic role as a sexually liberated Samantha Jones on the second season of And Just Like That. Now, according to Page 6, they have some tea on what her list of demands were. in order for her to secure her appearance on the show. Now, she is coming back in the season 2 finale. So you're not going to see her performance until like August. June 22nd, I believe, is when the second season premiere pops up. I know they just released a new trailer, I think on Friday or something. I watched it for the second time today. But anyway, so according to page 6, Cattrall refused to film with her former co-stars SJP, Cynthia Nixon, and Kristen Davis. Another demand she had put in place is that she would not film if showrunner and SJP ally Michael Patrick King was on the Queen set. One show source said Kim had 2 stipulations. One, that she would not act with any of the other girls, and 2, she did not want to see Michael Patrick King. Cattrall, who is also, I should point out, a fan favorite, refused to return for a third Sex and the City movie amid reports of friction between her and SJP, including the revelation that Cattrall felt she and her co-stars were not financially compensated well enough, and SJP being paid more than them. Now, I wonder if that had to do with the fact that SJP was not only a star of the franchise, but an executive producer. So when you are an EP and the star of a show, I'm sure you're going to get paid more money than your co-stars. So producers dismissed Samantha's absence in the first few episodes of And Just Like That by making it clear that the character now lives in London and that she and Carrie had a falling out after the writer dumped her as a publicist, which I called bullshit on. I'm like, that was that's the best y'all can come up with. That's gonna make you move to a whole nother place outside of the United States. But it was quite obvious her presence was missed during the uneven first season, and fans let it be known on social media. I do love the fact that at the end of the day, it feels like Kim got the last laugh and not only got all her demands met because producers of the show know how popular Samantha's character is, but I'm sure they backed up the Brinks trying to get her to come back. Now, they also said, a source saying they still need her on the show, but even though this may get fans thinking she'll be back for the next season, she'll never do that. I'm glad she gets to be the hero. I'm sure it took a lot of massaging to make the cameo happen. They said the scene that was shot was apparently her in a car having a phone conversation with Carrie. I wonder if that's also the picture that we saw of Carrie on the stoop on the phone. I'm wondering if that is the scene where you get Samantha in the car. And they shot it at in Queens at Silver Cup Studios, the famous Silver Cup Studios. They also said Candace Bushnell, who is the creator of Sex and the City and Just Like That, said that I hope the series runs for a long time and that she loves Kim and everybody loves Kim. And also, Cattrall was dressed for her return by Patricia Field, who was responsible for all the outfits in Sex and the City. Now, I don't know if she dressed all the other women, but she definitely picked out Cattrall's wardrobe for her scene. But I know that Patricia Field, who is 82 by the way, she has moved on and she now styles the looks for the show Emily in Paris over on Netflix, which it was created by Sex and the City producer Darren Star. So I'm actually looking forward to Kim Cattrall coming back. I'm glad she's coming back. I would love for her to just bite her tongue and just shoot with the show again and give the gays. I ain't fuck the fan. Well, I shouldn't say fuck the fans. Just think about the gays because the gays are with the gays resonate with Samantha more so than I think any other group. They're the ones who made that character popular, child. Quiet as it's kept. But me personally, I feel like I would love for Kim to just bite the bullet and come back. But I feel like maybe she feels like, you know what? Why do I have to endure coming back to a show and undergo the same traumatic experience I had when I shot Sex and the City? I don't want to have to come back on a show and deal with a bunch of gaslighting, a bunch of BS from a bunch of women that I didn't get along with. Now, I know about her SJP, but I don't understand why she lumped Cynthia Nixon and Kristen Davis in this situation. Like, how come you don't want to work with them? What do they do to you? That's what I'm curious about. But I do agree with that. You said, honestly, if it's going to be a cameo, then what's the point? I'd rather they didn't go this route. Sex and the City is not the same without Samantha. And that has been the overall argument, is that people feel like it's not Sex and the City without Samantha. And you're right. It's And Just Like That. I'm kidding. It's basically an extension of Sex and the City, and yes, it doesn't make sense to not have the core four there. And I know they're trying to make it up with the show by bringing in all these other side characters that the main girls can interact with, like Nicole Ari Parker's characters, some of the other people we met in the first season, which would make sense because in New York, I'll just use New York as an example since that's where the show takes place and that's where I'm from. Coming in New York, we all have our core friends. We also have other friends that we interact with. And I like the idea of them doing that with the show. However, the way they went about it last season, it did feel a little forced. Like, would you actually believe that these ladies would be friends with these people on this show? These characters. And I'm trying not to think back the way it was with the old show, because these girls always kind of stuck together, and then there was always these other people that just kind of came in and out of their lives. It was more focused on their sexual relationships. And when they did have friends, it was a lot of like a certain group of women that were from the area in which they lived. It felt very Real Housewives of New York, which I guess is why she and Andy Cohen are good friends. So I'm curious to see how this all works out, but I feel like it's not going to be enough of a satisfaction for the fans. They're going to be a little upset and be like, this is basically it. And I think we need that. We want that character that, you know what, she was just unapologetic about her sexuality. And like Sailor Mermaid said, is like she was the more liberated character, sexually liberated. And all the other ones were very reserved. I mean, Carrie did her thing, but she was very conservative in a lot of her ways too. The more uptight one was Charlotte. I mean, she would experience every now and again, but she was the more uptight one. And Miranda, child, sometimes I wanted to hit her ass because the way she would treat, especially Steve, and especially last season, she always treated him like shit, and that man loved on her. So who knows? Maybe Che, who I know is a lot of people haven't really gravitated towards, will be her karma. We'll see. But good luck to y'all. And speaking of Kim's, child, let's talk about Kim Zolciak and this relationship with Kroy. This whole situation is a hot ass mess because, Kim is going through it with her finances. I heard she's trying to beg to get back on one of Bravo reality shows, Ultimate Girls Trip or whatever, but she may have to wait a while because they have to film Ultimate Girls Trip season 5, and they're doing that with the cast of the Real Housewives of New York, which I talked about on ChrisAvalon.com. They're bringing back a lot of the girls from the New York franchise, and they just send them on a girls trip because they couldn't come to an agreement, I guess, to do a legacy show or something or another. So send them on vacation for a couple of days. But according to Radar Online, the home life of ex-Real Housewives of Atlanta star Kim Zolciak and her estranged husband, Kroy Boomerang, is becoming increasingly volatile. And this is what a police report exclusively obtained by Radar Online showed. Now, on May 4th, only 2 days after 911 was called to deal with a separate domestic dispute involving the parties, officers were back at the ex's Georgia home over property Kim claimed Kroy took from her and locked away in a safe. During questioning, Bierman admitted to responding police officers that he was allegedly attacked by the reality star, claiming that he had an audio recording to prove it. Kroy then advised that Kim had punched him in the back of the head during an earlier altercation concerning the disputed property, read a May 4th, 2023 report by a Milton, Georgia police officer that arrived at the home. Now, Bierman told the officer he didn't have any visible injuries or evidence to prove that Kim had caused it. Well, child, it was in the back of the damn head. You ain't gonna see no damn bruises. Unless he's bald. So what are you talking about? So now, Radar Online first reported Bierman and Zolciak filed dueling divorce petitions on May 8th, both asking the court to award the primary custody with their 4 minor kids, Kroy, Cash, Kaya, and Kane, plus child and spousal support. I also heard that Kim wound up taking a parenting class that was court ordered, and she wound up getting an almost perfect score. Yeah, why are you having to take parenting classes when you have 6 kids? Which, quiet as it's kept, I don't think she did a good enough job on them. You see the way she was raising them kids on that reality show, and the way she would go out of her way for Brielle and her birthday party in the first season and spend all this money and doing this and the third. Probably Big Papa was giving her the coin. But Kim has never been good with managing money, or most likely buying her kids love. But as the bare knuckle divorce brawl drags in court, an emotional couple is still living under the same hot tin roof where their kids reside amid their parents' meltdowns. Now, this is why I don't understand how y'all fighting, and Kroy's allegedly chest bumping her, and then she's punching him in the back of the head, and he's locking himself in the room with her medications and all this other stuff, and her designer purses and jewelry worth $175,000 along with her passport. Why y'all still in the same damn house? Don't she still got that townhouse that Big Papa bought her? Why don't she go there in the meantime and let Kroy stay in the mansion, which I probably will have to give that up eventually, because I don't know how y'all still staying in a house that y'all can't even pay bills on. Now, on my website, I do have the incident report, courtesy of Radar Online, which breaks down the whole thing. They said none of the kids were involved in a verbal dispute. There were no allegations of evidence of physical dispute. No arrests were made. They said that they spoke to the reporting party, advised to dispatch Kimberly, because that's what they wrote. They did not Kim Zolciak. They had to put her whole damn name. She reported that she was sitting in the bathroom while talking on the phone, and Kroy began shouting at her, telling her to leave. When she refused, Kimberly then advised when she tried to leave the room, Kroy would stand in the doorway blocking her exit. In addition, she said he would chest bump her. Child, that's a whole lot of titties. So unless you got strength up here, I don't think you should be chest butting anybody, not with all that plastic. Which she implied would make her scared to move. So they both having a whole War of the Roses situation, beating the shit out of each other in the damn house in front of all the kids. Now, this is a ploy to get yourselves back on reality TV. I don't want it. But I do think that maybe they need to bring Kim back to the Real Housewives of Atlanta, because quiet as it's kept, they're going to need it. Especially the way them ratings is dropping, which we will get to that in a second. But yeah, so this is actually kind of sad because of the kids. I don't feel sorry for Kim or Kroy because they're both, in my opinion, vile human beings. I'm particularly like Kroy. I heard he brought a gun to the reunion, the last reunion she was on, where she was trying to act like she was the victim. That was Roachgate with her and Nene. Like, why are you bringing a gun to? You was fearing for your life? So I think that Kroy might be low-key racist. Word on the curb was I also heard he was on Grindr. That's the word around Atlanta. Now, I first heard about that was because, remember T.S. Madison's ex, I believe it was assistant producer, Gio. So Gio was on social media allegedly spilling tea, allegedly, that Kroy was on Grindr looking for trade. And with all that ass, child, you know the black boys, they be up on that like white on rice. I said that Kroy need to get on OnlyFans and start producing some content with all that booty he got. Y'all trying to pay bills and things, and she trying to spend, get people to spend $2.7K on used wigs, which I heard was the same price she spent when she first got them, when they was new. I don't know if the hair is real. I don't know if it's synthetic. I don't know if it's plastic or fantastic. But all I know is you'd be a fool if y'all out here spending damn near $3,000 on some wigs from Kim Head, knowing full on don't know what the hell a woman got in her scalp, and you trying to get them to pay full retail price? Kim, who you think you fooling? Or some people actually might just buy it for the sake of saying, like, you know what? It's Kim Zolciak. I got her wig, just to say they have it. So it goes on and on and on. There's been so many stories that's been coming out about this whole situation. I don't feel bad for the parents. Quiet as it's kept, I think where these kids need to go, I don't think either one of them need to get custody. Send them to the grandparents, and I'm talking about Kroy parents, because those are the ones that he cut off at the behest of Kim. Though, you really want to piss off? Let Kroy parents come and get full custody of them kids, because y'all don't deserve any of them. Not with y'all behavior. So good luck to y'all, because I know this is going to be a story that we're just going to be following. And it's going to be a hot ass mess. And, I'm here for the grist. So now we're going from Kim to her old job, which was Real Housewives of Atlanta. So now the current cast of the Real Housewives of Atlanta are reportedly shaking in their boots, worried that season 15 may be their last as ratings continue to drastically drop. Now, this story comes from Radar Online. That said, the current season of Real Housewives of Atlanta has failed to connect with viewers, and sources said that some of the cast are concerned about being axed due to poor ratings. Season 15 of the Bravo show premiered on May 7th to 834,000 viewers and 0.28 in the key demo. The following week, only 738K viewers tuned in, but that had dropped to 657K in the latest episode that aired on May 28th. Now, sources close to the show tell Radar Online, that the cast members are aware that the ratings are extremely low. They are worried Bravo will pull a recast on them as they did the cast of Real Housewives of New York. None of them are safe. None of them feel safe, even Kandi. Well, they shouldn't. Drew Sidora, Marlo Hampton, Sanya Richards, Ross, Kenya Moore, Kandi Burruss, and Sheree should not feel safe. I don't know why the hell they got that girl Courtney on there. Her loud ass. She was annoying. She actually, and I didn't know this from the last episode I watched, because I watched episode 3. Her baby's father is Bryce from Groove Theory. I was looking at him like, why he look familiar? Until they pointed it out. I don't remember Ryan Leslie and what's her name, Claudette. Didn't she hunch the both of them when she was in City High? Wait, no, I'm thinking City High. He's from Groove Theory. That was the one with Amel LaRue. Child, I don't mix up my groups in the 90s. Yeah, Bryce was from Groove Theory. He was with Amel LaRue, who I actually lived for. Whatever happened to her? Because I liked Amel LaRue. I even bought her solo album. And I was, back in the 90s, I went through a whole jazz phase. Like, I was going through my whole Sade, smooth jazz phase. Like, that's basically what I was going through when I was in the 90s. A mere little child. Now you see a lot of these young girls like Kali Uchis and the rest of them kind of embodying that whole Sade sound. That's kind of like where R&B is now. SZA and all of them. But anyway, so yeah, all these women should be shaking their boots as quiet as it's kept. None of y'all got storylines, including Kandi. And I don't care how much, of a big wig she is and how much Andy loves her. If you're not bringing it, you're going to get fired. That's just the way the cookie crumbles in this business called entertainment. I'm paying you all this money. Word on the curb is Kandi makes $2 million. I think a season, because ain't going to be an episode. She makes $2 million a season. I know she has all her little 50,000 jobs, which they showed in one scene. I didn't even watch the latest episode because the episode 3 was so boring. So I do agree with the fans. The show is boring. Y'all not giving what needs to be given. And I know somebody tried to come at me talking about, but y'all say y'all don't want Nene and Portia and all of them. I never said I didn't want Nene. I said the problem with Nene was she was acting like she was too good. She was too big for the show and that she couldn't be fired. But Andy was like, oh no, bitch. You don't run it over here. I run this here. It's the same attitude that I'm noticing Teresa has been giving with this New Jersey franchise, especially at the reunion. And my thing is, you work for Bravo. You don't own anything over at Bravo. You don't own Real Housewives of New Jersey, just like Kandi don't own the Real Housewives of Atlanta. She became the queen bee because all the other bees left. SZA beat Lil Nas X on record-breaking #1 streak. Yeah, well, she was #1 for that album was #1 for damn near 3 months, I believe. or maybe longer. So, yeah, I don't think that Kandi, I think Kandi should be worried. First of all, you don't want to talk about the shooting at what happened at the old lady gang where your cousin, who I believe was a cook, was shot at the restaurant. I believe by a former employee. Why do you not want to talk about that? Yeah, I do agree. Sailor Murray's not cutting his family off for her. Yeah, he did. Like the fool he is. That pussy could not have been that damn potent for me to be cut off by goddamn family. Her coochie be casting spells. I can cast a spell. See that you can tell. Make a special move. A fire inside of you. I'm every woman that's all in her. But anyway. Every time I'm singing that song. Was it the Shaka version or was that the Whitney version? Anyway. So, yeah. None of y'all are bringing it. You know, Marla was accusing Drew of acting in the last episode I saw because she was talking about her nephew got shot at this, at a third. You know, we also got Monyetta Shaw Carter on the show, who is Neo's ex. The one I think he had to get her tubes tied and wound up knocking another woman up. And like I mentioned, Courtney, why is she on it? Like, she trying to start beef with Kandi. Girl, it ain't you a friend of. You shouldn't even be that. So yeah, they're not really bringing it on the show. Even the fans were saying, they was like I said, it was boring episode, but damn, y'all really didn't tune in. Another person wrote, at this point, I'm only here for Kenya because like I'm tired of Marlo and her trauma dumping. And can someone get this boring ass Courtney away from my screen? Can't stand her voice. Another person put, seemed like another lackluster season is in the making. The Housewives franchise as a whole needs to head in a younger, fresher direction. Another person put time for a total reboot. But the question is, does younger always mean better? Maybe, and I think this is probably going to be an ongoing theme tonight. Maybe the Real Housewives franchise has run its course. They keep creating all these franchises, all these new franchises, but y'all can barely keep your recent ones interested. Then I've heard people getting mad because they talk about, well, they should have never fired Carlos King. Who knows what happened with him and the whole Atlanta Housewives? I'm thinking that the real tea happened because he kind of insinuated that whole sexual allegation in the dungeon and shit with Kandi, where Portia went on with the allegation saying that they was going to drug and sexually assault her in their dungeon. Now, if y'all sexual freaks, do you. I don't judge. If y'all open with your sexuality, y'all bring in thirds and y'all have 3-ways and 4Gs, that's on you. I did not believe that story with Kandi and Tom was going to go up in there and sexually drug and assault Portia. I don't think it was going to happen. I think maybe Carlos King, because he could be messy too. Messier than Andy Cohen. Or maybe equally as messy, because Andy messy. Quite honestly, I can't tolerate either one of them. But Carlos did make good TV around the time when he was on the Housewives of Atlanta. And I just think that maybe people have grown tired and outgrown the franchise. Maybe the people on the show have outgrown the franchise. I think maybe what needs to happen, get rid of all the damn all the Real Housewives, and just do them all as ultimate girls trips. Do like an All-Stars. Every season is basically you just mix the women up and do a girls trip. We have them filmed for a week, and you just keep doing that. Because if y'all can't make these women interesting, and all the franchises' numbers is going down, then it might be time for the Real Housewives franchise to kind of be put to bed. I just don't think people care anymore. And then on top of that, are y'all even counting the numbers of people who stream it on Peacock? Because I don't have Bravo. I watch all my Bravo stuff on Peacock. It's the same thing with Sailor Murray said, why don't they make an all-star version like Bear Girls Club did? Invite all the fan favorites into one house or something. Well, that's where the Ultimate Girls Trip idea comes from. Because they basically have taken women from the different franchises, put them together, they go on a trip for a week to some destination, and drama ensues. That's basically what they did. So that's why I said at this point, maybe y'all should just scrap all the housewife shows altogether and just have these women film traveling to different places and do, that sort of thing. Because it's time to breathe new life into the show. Just this whole thing where these women, you season after season, y'all can't even come up with interest of it. You're not willing to play the game. It's just not interested anymore. And I'm basically getting bored with the housewives. So I don't know, Andy. You got a lot of work cut out for you. So we'll see how this ends up. Now, speaking of Atlanta, let's take a trip over to New Jersey. So the first part of the Real Housewives of New Jersey reunion aired, and I have to say, it was okay. I didn't think it was something crazy that jumped out. It wasn't all that exciting to me. It was just what it was. Now, I did like the fact that, Teresa and Melissa, who hadn't seen each other since they filmed the show a year ago, they saw each other for the first time on the reunion. So, they came out guns blazing. I really wish that Melissa would have went in a little harder on Teresa, especially when you were bringing up the neighbor that she wound up hooking up with, your neighbor. And she denied it. Oh, we didn't go out. But then cut to the scenes where they showed Teresa in a group photo with Melissa and her brother and the guy that was the neighbor of Melissa and Joe that she was seeing. Even Kim D admitted that this was the tea on the Behind the Velvet Rope podcast. Shout out to them because they be bringing the tea too. They were actually referenced a lot in the finale. In the reunion too. A lot of the tea that they spilled on their show prior to, especially the thing that we're going to hear about with Jacqueline revealing that it was Joe and Melissa who put Teresa and Joe Giudice in federal prison. So now that's when it started getting good towards the end. All the other stuff was like, Fuda had this stink look on her face. Cabral definitely brought it with the attitude. That Staten Island attitude. I was living for it. Dolores, who Wendy likes to call Black Dolores, she definitely held her own in the finale. In the reunion, where she was talking about Paulie is not divorced from his wife. You might want to work on that if you plan on getting married to him. All the other women didn't really get much to say. Jen basically sat there being Teresa's cheerleader as usual. What would you expect? I guess we'll get more in the second part. But the real gag came towards the end of the episode when Teresa accused Melissa and her brother Joe, who was of being the ones that called the feds on her and ex-husband Joe Giudice, resulting in them being sent to prison. Now, this tea came from Jacqueline Larita revealed this when she was interviewed by David Yontef and Kim D, which I know a lot of people get mad because Kim D kept interjecting, but that's what she does. Now, back in 2014, Teresa and Joe pleaded guilty to 41 counts of fraud following a deal struck with federal prosecutors. She got a 15-month federal prison sentence, while Joe Giudice got 41 months. Teresa was released from prison in 2015 and returned home to her kids. Joe Giudice completed his prison sentence in 2019 and then was deported back to Italy. They divorced shortly after his deportation. And I think she said that was because when she got out of prison, when she was in prison, she missed, I believe, her father died. And her mother died, I believe. Like, there was a lot of deaths in her family. She couldn't go to the funeral. She missed her kid's graduation. There was a lot of things that were happening in her life that because she went to prison and, because of what happened with her husband that she trusted, he was doing all kinds of shit and probably having Teresa sign papers and she's not thinking or looking into those papers. So she's like, I'm just going to sign whatever, because I trust you, and then it is what it is. But she got caught up in the matrix because when your husband's doing criminal shit and the feds is coming after y'all, they think, oh, you're a package deal, birds of a feather. You knew. Even though I always said Teresa's less than smart. Bless her heart and everything, but she's less than smart. Let's be clear. When we watch her on TV and certain things she doesn't understand, it's like when Margaret called her tree stumps and she thought she was talking about her legs. It's like, no, she's talking about the tree huggers, which is her fans. which I also think All About the Real Housewives is run by tree huggers. That's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother day. Now, for years, if y'all been paying attention, Teresa has accused former co-star and friend Caroline Manzo of being the person that called the feds on them. She also accused former co-star Jacqueline Larita of putting her in jail. I do remember that, which I thought was absolutely ridiculous. But when she rekindled her friendship with Jacqueline, Teresa claimed during the reunion that Jacqueline told her that Melissa was the one who put her in jail. But this is what I don't get, because if this was true, why didn't Jacqueline, at the time when she was being roasted by Teresa and all these crazy accusations, didn't she come out then and say, it was not me? I know who it is. I'll tell you who it is. Especially when you don't have any loyalty to Melissa and Joe, as you stated in the interview that you did over at the Behind the Velvet Rope podcast. So why didn't you say it then? You waited till now to bring this up. Because to me, it always seems like Teresa wants people around her who are anti-Joe and Melissa. I'm not saying Joe and Melissa are innocent, but I'm just trying to look at it from both sides of the coin. Like I said, I really wish Melissa would have brought it even further. Like, if you're going to come out with accusations that hit Teresa with the 1-2 punch, you got to go in for the kill. You got to go in for the knockout. Don't sit up in there and just like throw a softball and then don't really go in and really knock her out. Because Teresa's going to come with her stuff too. And she's going to come harder. That's what I'm saying. For me, if I'm on a reunion and people try to come for me, I'm going in for the kill. I'll go for the juggler. I don't give a damn. Now, with all this, do I believe that it was Melissa and Joe? I don't know if this is true. She's saying she spoke to the fans. I don't know if you should be revealing that information that you spoke to the fans and sent her. But overall, if this is true, that your own family member, and look, crazier things have happened where sometimes it be your own family members that will do you dirtier than your friends or anybody else in your family. I mean, that you surround yourself with, not family. But family be the worst. And you're supposed to trust family. But if this is true, that is the worst thing that someone could possibly do. It ain't no good gonna come to you, Joe Gorga, until you do right by your sister, if this is true. I hope it isn't, because I don't want to think the worst of people with family members and this and the other, even though, you know, I can totally understand when you don't get along with siblings. But I do hope it's not true. And in regards of this whole thing with the Real Housewives of New Jersey, the future of it, because you know they're on pause, they don't know what to do at this point. They don't know if they want to bring Melissa back or Teresa back, or fire Teresa or fire Melissa. And I know people say Teresa can't be fired. They said the same thing about Nene. She's unemployed by Bravo. But then again, Nene did accuse Andy Cohen of being a racist. Even though we know Andy liked them young colored boys. You know, he be fetishizing the young Latin and black boys. That's his type. But yeah, so I do feel they can do separate shows. Could they do where they give Teresa a spinoff with just her, Louie, and the kids and her friends? And would y'all watch that? Would y'all watch like a Don't Be Tardy version of like a Teresa Giudice spinoff? And then she can come and double dip and do the Real Housewives of New Jersey. See, this is y'all fault, Bravo. The minute y'all decided to put the show on pause until Teresa got out of prison, because the show wasn't that interesting without her. The minute y'all did that, you made it so that Teresa truly believes that Jersey cannot survive without her being a part of it. The minute y'all started to do that, it was the beginning of the end. Now it's sort of like, what would Jersey be without Teresa being on it? Because now it's like she has to be there. So I don't know. I'm going to keep you guys abreast of the story as it develops. Because I'm like, with this whole thing with Teresa and all this other stuff, and, you know, I also saw that she apologized after a recent Watch What Happens live appearance, because Andy actually called her out on saying that because of the whole Joe Deedle situation, that Louis wound up getting Joe Deedle to dig up information on the entire cast, which he mentioned in the finale. And Teresa said that when he's asking me, can you defend it? I thought he meant, can you back up your husband, by saying that he did not hire a private investigator. So I'm like, yes, I can defend it. He's saying I'm contradicting myself. So I was supposed to say no to that. She said, I got ripped up on that question. I thought that's what he was saying to me. Can you defend it that he did not call a private investigator? Everyone, well, if you weren't sure, you should have asked him to clarify. But according to reports, Bo Deedle said he ain't do such a thing. That he didn't dig up any dirt on any of the other people, on these on these people. And here's the thing. Even if I've hired private investigators and said the third, why would I even drop the name of my source? So that's the thing about Louis. Louis all over the place. Like he's unpredictable. I don't like that. I mean, it's entertaining for the TV, but it's like you never know what's gonna come out that man's mouth. It's giving bipolar. Like 1 minute you all about peace and let it go and this and the other, and I love you to the Gorgas, and the next minute you're talking about, oh, I got info on all of y'all. Well, hopefully, if you got all this tea that you allegedly got from Bo Deedle, hopefully it gets spilled at the reunion. So yeah, so it is what it is. I'll keep you guys abreast of what's going on, because we got part 2 next week. Hopefully, it'll be a way more entertaining than part 1. I felt like that basically part 1 was the appetizer. We're about to come to the the entree, and then part 3 will be the dessert. But they definitely better bring it in the second episode, like they did with Vanderpump Rules, which we're gonna get to coming up soon as well. So now we still on some Andy Cohen, because he is just popular today. Because look, Kelly Ripa spilling tea about her bestie, Andy Cohen, her good Judy, and revealed that she once received a dick pic from one of Andy's potential hookups while on set of Live with Kelly and Mark. Now, she said, so my work iPad is open and I'm sitting here reading through my notes, and Live executive producer Michael Gelman is over my shoulder trying to show me something. Ripa explained on Wednesday's episode of her podcast, Let's Talk Off Camera, featuring Cohen as a guest. Oh, I had to make sure I was on point with it. Okay. And then suddenly a completely erect penis pops up. Let's call it Bobby. Ripa 52 continue. It just says Bobby's cock, and it's like a text from Andy Cohen. Bobby's cock. Oh God, white people that fucking cock word. Anyway, the Watch What Happens Live host 54 explained that he was planning to have a sex romp with a straight Boston-based couple, which is how he acquired the pornographic pic. Cohen, who wrote about wanting to have a menage a trois with a heterosexual married couple in his most recent book, The Daddy Diaries, never sealed the deal on the Boston twosome. Ripa was happy about the failure, as she and her husband Mark Consuelos worry about their friend's safety when it comes to hookups. Mark and I get very nervous with this stuff on your behalf, she said. I'm constantly convinced that it's going to be a couple of serial killers. I've had this discussion with you many times where I'm so afraid for your life. Ripa and Cohen's chat also included a frank conversation about what the Bravo honcho misses now that he's a single dad of 4-year-old son Benjamin and 1-year-old daughter Lucy. He says, I miss sleeping and I miss walking around naked and I miss being the only one in my house. And did I say freedom? Do I miss the freedom? He told the All My Children alum before clarifying that he doesn't question his decision to have children for a second. The king of reality TV added, I often think to myself, well, what would I be doing if I didn't have kids? And I think, well, I'd be masturbating and getting high. I still masturbate and I get high plenty with kids, he quipped, so maybe I'm not missing that much. Cohen was spotted on dating app Scruff and Grindr just 3 weeks after his son was born. Then in 2022, 1 month after his daughter was born, he told Page Six that he's on a lot of dating sites, saying, and I quote, I really use them more as video games. He joked at the time. Well, look, I think as a parent, you should be open enough to say that, you know what? Do I miss walking around naked and being the only one in my house and my freedom? Yeah, I miss those things. But I made the decision that I wanted to fulfill my life by bringing children into it. And I think all parents, I'm sure, think that. That it's like, you know what? I miss my freedom. My mother used to say that to me a lot when I was going. I miss living in my own house and having the freedom to walk around naked and do all other stuff. Like parents say that. I'm not saying that you don't love me, but for the most part, it's like you miss those things. But then it's like, you know what? It's great to have like the kids running around and throwing temper tantrum because I won't give them ice cream and all this other stuff. Like it's good to have those that vibe and those feelings. So, but it's also good to miss your freedom. Now, regarding the dick pic situation, it should not have come as a surprise that it got a lot of clicks, that story, on my website. Because it seems like whenever I talk about penises and sex and this, that, and the third, y'all really love clicking on them posts. Not that I'm judging, but I live for it. Thank you. Like when Tyra Banks said to Beyonce, "You are Beyonce," and Beyonce just responded about, "Thank you." I'm like, bitch, you know who she is. How do you respond to that? Now, regarding the dick pic thing, now here's the thing. It should not be a shocker. Friends do that. Gays do that. We get dick pics, we share it with our friends, and we show them, what do you think? It's a cute penis, you know. But now the word, you know, the people was responding on my page in the comments was saying, isn't that revenge porn? Would that be considered revenge porn? Even though he's not using it to like get back at the guy, you're sharing it with a friend about, oh, look, this is guy I'm about to hook up with. This is the dick pic he sent me. But I thought Andy was a top. Do tops be receiving dick pics? Me, because I'm a tub, I get sent a lot of ass pics, which I'm not complaining. But sometimes I do like to look at the front. I want to see what you're working with. But yeah, Andy, be careful with that. And I know that is an overall concern. So I do get that Kelly was like, her and Mark were worried because you know, the whole hookup thing, but that's just a risk for, unfortunately, and I guess fortunately, that we as a community have to take all the time when, you know, we go and hook up with randoms. The risk that, who knows, you may run into a Jeffrey Dahmer. You never know. It's unfortunate, but you know, sometimes that's just the way the cookie crumbles. That's just the risk that a lot of us take. There have been many situations that I put myself in that I'm surprised I'm alive. But I always look at it as like, you know, the universe and God has a bigger, you know, has bigger things for me in the future. Now, from Andy Cohen, you know, sharing dick pics to Andy Cohen defending Tom Sandoval. Now, I know, here's the thing. I'm not a big watcher of Vanderpump Rules. It was never a show that I could get into. However, I'd seen one episode maybe a couple of seasons ago. Realized it wasn't my judge. A lot of the people on this show just come across as just vile, annoying attention whores. Which I guess is all the qualifications you need to do a reality show. However, this whole Sandoval story, bitch, I was fully invested. I was locked and loaded, and I was caught up in the Matrix. And I have to say, it was good TV. Now, we didn't get, the whole Sandoval situation didn't really happen until the season finale. All the other stuff that was going on the show kind of led up to it. We didn't have any idea that Tom and Raquel were hooking up. But then when they started to pull the whole timeline, I was like, okay. So the breadcrumbs was kind of there, but the big reveal didn't come into the finale. But I just thought Tom and Raquel are vile human beings. It was disgusting what they did to poor Ariana. But I'm going to agree with Andy on what he said. But let's not jump the gun. Let's get to the story. So the Bravo executive, who was 54, defended the disgraced reality star who cheated on his partner of 9 years, Ariana Madix, with her best friend Raquel, saying Tom Sandoval made a mistake he'll probably regret for the rest of his life, Cohen said on Tuesday's episode of Not Skinny But Not Fat podcast. He's still a person. While discussing the affair, which has since become an international news story, yes, it has. Even The View was talking about it, which Gag me. First of all, they had Ariana show up on The View. That's how you know the story's big. They did that shit for Alyssa. With host Amanda Hirsch. The Watch What Happens Live boss said he hoped the fan reaction will calm down, saying, "It's out of control. I hope it's kind of dying down for his sake. He's a real person. He did something really stupid, hurtful, and asinine, but he didn't kill anyone. He didn't commit a crime. He committed a crime with his dick." Now, when Hirsch asked why he believes the scandal ballooned to such epic proportions, Cohen said the cast is so incestuous already. That's literally what I said. I kid you not. I was watching the show, and I said, this whole show is incestuous. They've all slept with each other. They've all slept with each other. I said, like, literally, like, when you watch the show and you hear the stories and stuff, they've all had sex with each other. So the show is pretty incestuous. And that's why the laugh when James was like, well, I was in my 20s when I did that. Sandoval's in his 40s and he's still doing the same. I was like, age is not an excuse for behavior and stupidity. You don't get a pass for that. You was a grown-ass man when you was doing this shit, take responsibility. It don't matter if you was 20, if you was 30, and if you was 40. You were an adult. Take the responsibility. Now, they said the pair's affair first came to light on March 3rd, just 2 days after Maddox stumbled upon evidence of their relationship on her now ex-boyfriend's phone. Vanderpump Rules cameras continued to roll as the fallout from Sandoval was documented on season 10 of the reality show. During part 1 of the reunion, which aired last week, Maddox revealed she only received one apology text from Raquel. It took her 48 whole hours to text me. I don't even know what to say. I'm sorry. That was what she sent you? Maddox 37 told Cohen during a one-on-one chat, and I said, fuck you, fuck off, you effing rat. And then I blocked her. Now, Levis was 28. That's Raquel's last name, wasn't on stage during the first installment of the highly anticipated reunion, as she had obtained a restraining order against her former friend Sheena Shea at the time of the March 23rd taping. So they did swap seats. Shayna had to be taken off set in a car to her trailer while Raquel came on stage. And I had no idea also that Patrick from Fire Island, remember that reality show? And he, I believe, was also the one that did porn at one point. Like, he did a Treasure Island Media movie. He's a producer on Vanderpump Rules. He was in the scene, the Muscle Queen, with the like a lot of bow ties, a lot of filler, where Sandoval was trying to be like, can y'all stop recording me because I want to have a conversation with Raquel. Oh, you was up to some scandalous shit. Because my thing is this, from the time y'all come on set, you are there to film. You don't get a moment where we got to cut cameras and mics and you don't want to be filmed. You don't get to do that. When you're on a reality show, you don't get to control how the reality how the sauce is made. You show up, you give the producers what they want, or you're out. And that goes for anybody on the Real Housewives, the Vanderpumps, all the other shows. Your job is to come in and give producers what they want. Fail to comply, you're gonna be unemployed. But I don't think they're gonna get rid of Tom and Raquel because they need them. They produced, so the ratings were through the roof with this season, with this whole Sandoval situation. 2 million people were watching. Bravo ain't seen them numbers in eons. You think they're gonna get rid of Sandoval? They got to see how this shit unfolds. Especially when every chance that Tom got to defend himself, and even though he wasn't really good at it, you had the Queenie Britt, James. I still think he in the closet, child. I don't know how a lot of these British men be so damn effeminate, but y'all just be thinking they straight, but whatever. So him and Bones Malone, what's her name? Yeah, what's that girl name? Lala. Yeah, I call her Bones Malone because that bitch did a damn sandwich. So they kept pouncing on him every chance they got. I got Ariana being upset, and every chance he opened his mouth, she cussed him out because he did her dirty. But then you had James jumping on it, and I didn't like the fact that they kept trying to say Lisa was defending him. She wasn't defending him. She was trying to be neutral and show, like, you know what? Y'all all have cheated. on each other, with each other. It's like they don't even step out the group to fuck other people. They just be sleeping with each other and remain friends. Probably because it's in the contract. But I don't know. To me, I always felt like what I got from the show, because like I said, just be an observer. I think Tom and Ariana, I don't think they were in love with each other. I think they had fallen out of love after 9 years, and neither one knew how to break it off. And I feel like Sandoval decided that the one thing I could do to break off this relationship is I'm going to cheat on you. With your best friend, no less. And to me, it's disgusting because Raquel, to me, just comes across as someone who just doesn't care about anybody but herself. She said, oh, we were friends, and I wanted to see what that felt like to take it to the next level. This is a typical you want what you can't have type situation, and you decided to just dip your toe into something that was sacred and off limits, which was your so-called best friend's man. And now you've taken a relationship where hopefully the girls will want to film with you, but none of the girls on the show like you at this point. They all hate her guts. So if they can't stand you, you might be out of a job, sis. But then again, like I said, 2 million viewers watched Vanderpump Rules season 10. They're gonna have to bite the bullet and film if y'all want to keep the show going and them checks coming in. Now, another person who piped up and watched the show was Brandy Glanville, from former Real Housewives of Beverly Hills star and Ultimate Girls Trip season 4 star. She weighed in and gave her 2 cents. She said, "This effing hypocrisy is effing insane. I never thought I would be friends with half the bitches that effed my husband while I was married and pregnant," Glanville tweeted Wednesday after the Bravo reality star season 10 reunion aired. The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills alum, who's 50, did not elaborate on her post or name names, but of course she was talking about Sheena. Because Sheena Shea, who is now married to Brock, the cute Australian, she slept with Eddie Cibrian back in 2007 while Brandy was pregnant with their second child. Brandy then tweeted, "I'm effing over it with pretty much everyone." Shea has not responded to Glanville's tweets, and a former housewife previously brought that beef back to life shortly after the Good as Gold singer condemned Pump Rules co-stars Tom Sandoval for having a months-long affair with Raquel Leviss while in a 9-year relationship with Ariana Madix. Saying, "A cheater is a cheater no matter how it goes down. At Sheena, you knew Eddie was married, so it's all the same," she tweeted on April 28th. Shortly afterward, Glanville shared that she and Shea had talked and are on good terms. "I just didn't understand the outrage considering the group's history. That is all. Sheena and I have texted. We are good," she tweeted later that same day. Days after Sandoval first made headlines on March 3rd, Shea defended her outrage over Leviss and Sandoval's dalliance. I think that's how you say that, despite having none of her own years prior. "Remind me when I slept with my best friend's boyfriend for 7 months behind her back and in front of her face. I'll wait." That she tweeted on April 27th. Now, Shea and Glanville famously had a heated confrontation about Cibrian's affair during the first season of Vanderpump Rules in 2013. I actually remember that. But now, Cibrian was 49. You remember he cheated on Brandy with Leanne Rimes, who he wound up marrying in 2011. So they've been married for 12 years, 13 years, and they don't have kids. So I get Brandy's frustration. It's sort of like there was a lot of hypocrisy on that stage. Y'all up in here on this moral high horse trying to come for Tom and Raquel when y'all have all cheated on your significant others and now because they're in the hot seat, it's good to pounce on them. It is hypocritical. None of y'all had a leg to stand on. I think the only one on that show that hasn't cheated on somebody was Lisa Vanderpump. Okay, so we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about The Weeknd wants to work with Madonna on her new album. Yvie oddly is calling out Drag Race execs. We're going to talk about Grayling Parnell and his ex-boyfriend went on Bigo Live Chat and basically exposes HIV status. And we have a story coming up regarding a famous, iconic ballroom queen from the iconic film Paris is Burning, whose home in Jersey is now a historical landmark. So we have all that and more. So don't go away. We'll be right back with this very special episode of On the Line with your host, Chris Avalon.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. What? Take your time, baby. Take your time, daddy. Take your time, take your time, yes. I need you to go ahead and slow it down, baby. I need to take your time. I need you to go and show them that you gotta go, baby. Take your time. Take your time. I need you to fucking take your time. Oh yes, baby, come and take your time, yes. I need you to give me soft and cut. I need you to go and take your time. I need you to go ahead and serve me sex up on the book. You better take your time, yes. Give me romance, give me all you want. Go ahead and give me that soft and hot. Give me that what and go ahead and serve it up, baby. Give it something what and go ahead and take your, go ahead and take your time. Go ahead and take your, go and take your time. Give me that hot and give me that push. Give me that wet and give me that give me that warmth and give me that voice. Go ahead, baby, and take your time. Yes. Go ahead and relax and give me all the time. Yes, I give it to me. Yes. Yes, I give it to me. What are the F? Go ahead and take
Drag queens are a danger to kids.
Yes and no. I believe, hold on, let me speak, bro. Hold on. I believe that, everybody gonna do what they want to do, but at the end of the day, it shouldn't be in a kid's face every day like it's been lately. So, to each his own.
Do you think drag queens are a danger to kids?
If you try to push it on them, it is.
Do you think drag queens are a danger to kids?
Yeah, I think they are.
Okay, how?
Honestly, I would think it's just a little confusing because we all copy what we see, So, I mean, as a man watching that, I would think that would be an influence on me, yeah.
Do you think drag queens are a danger to kids?
rant time. The people who are creating such legislations can go f themselves. This country's going back 30 years, 40 years, even longer. Who knows? The real danger is some people, but yeah, it's definitely not drag queens.
Look over there, a classic distraction technique, distracting us away from the real issues that they were voted into office to focus on. Jobs, healthcare, keeping our children safe from harm at their own school. But we know that bullies are incompetent at solving real issues. They look for easy targets so they can give the impression of being effective. They think our love, our light, our laughter, and our joy are signs of weakness. But they're wrong, because that is our strength. Drag queens are the Marines of the queer movement. Don't get it twisted and don't be distracted. Register to vote so we can get these stunt queens out of office and put some smart people with real solutions into government. And by the way, a social media post has never been as powerful as a registered vote.
Two women who've inspired me with their character, strength, and of course, man stealer. Sup, loser?
This Caucasian bitch is back.
Oh, hey bitch. Oh, excuse you. Baloney wash. I'm annoyed. I'm just here to give my opinion and carry Annie. Oh, it's Chris Avalon Unfiltered, bitch. We back. Y'all like my game show background? Anyway. Of the show, you know, so that we can get those numbers and stuff up, because we've been, you know, I forgot to mention that earlier, and I should have did that, so doing it now, because I was going to say it earlier in the show, then stuff was happening, I got distracted, whatever. But here we are. Welcome back. Please like and subscribe, or just hit that like button, so that way, you know, it can get the numbers and the algorithm and all the other stuff going. Because, you know, if you're not liking the videos when you're watching, people don't even know my show exists. And yeah, I cut it up and I edit and I post it on all the different social media platforms, but I'm trying to get those numbers up on YouTube. because I wanted to do this as an actual living situation. Oh, shout out to Robert, who says that he missed the show. He was watching the TLC documentary. I actually forgot that Lifetime was dropping a TLC documentary. I think Lifetime is a part of Hulu, so I'm hoping and praying that it'll be up there and I could check for it. If not, I do have Philo, so I'll go on there and see if it's listed, and I will check it out because I definitely wanted to see the TLC documentary. But I'm hoping, because I do believe that Hulu has, I've noticed that they have put some stuff from Lifetime on their streamer. I'm hoping it'll end up there and I can check it out because I've been wanting to see it, but since I'm doing a show, I haven't gotten to watch it. But anyway, so yeah, welcome back to the show, and let's get right into some things. So the next topic we have is let's talk about Madonna. So she dropped a new song along with she's a part of a song called Popular with Playboy Carti and The Weeknd. The song, it's a mid-tempo R&B track. It's cute. I like it. Madonna sounds great on it. Yeah, they got a little bit of that auto-tune on it, but we know Madonna can sing. She's worked on the vocals since when she was doing Evita. That's when she started taking the vocals seriously. But anyway, so she has a song called Popular, and hopefully it becomes popular. Next week, she's set to drop this Fierce-alicious bitch track. That's what I'm calling it, because it's got that Banji ballroom type of vibe to the beat. The song is called Vulgar. It's a track that she has with Sam Smith that's set to drop next Friday. She's also been in the studio working on tracks with Max Martin. And she also, I believe, has some avant-garde left of center type tracks that she worked on with Christine and the Queens. Now, I love Christine and the Queens. I believe Christine and the Queens identifies with male pronouns, if I'm not mistaken, because I remember at one point when this new album came out from Christine, the latest album from Christine and the Queens, they were identifying, I remember it said that they identify as he. So I don't know if he's still going by that or whatever, because a lot of people like to fluctuate the damn gender pronouns, whatever. But I like Christine and the Queens. I didn't particularly care for the last album. I loved the album before that. I didn't particularly care for this new album. There were some good songs in there. Some of the songs were, it was a little hit and miss. But Madonna working with somebody outside like a Christine and the Queens, I'm here for that. We're interested to hear where they come up, because Christine sings in French, and we know Madonna loves the French language. Paradise Not For Me, she sings that song in English and in French. She's also did La Vie en Rose, but you already know Grace Jones, she's the only one that could do that Edith Piaf song. Sidebar, I am so upset. I did not know Grace Jones was performing at the Hammerstein Ballroom this past week. And if I had known, I would have gotten a ticket and went. I did not know Grace Jones was performing at Hammerstein until the day of, when I saw a lot of my friends talking about they were going to the concert. And then Whoopi Goldberg said she went when she was on The View. So I was upset with that. And I love the Keith Haring design that she had on the dress. So I was upset about that. I'm like, damn, I wanted to see her, because I thought Grace Jones was only going to be performing over in LA during Pride and this, that, and the third. I didn't know that she was going to be out here in New York. But like I said, if I would have known, I would have got a ticket. But you know what? There's always next time. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. Next time Grace Jones is performing in New York, I need people to fan out, let me know, so that way I can go. Speaking of which, now that Hammerstein is still doing concerts in that scenario, can we get Kylie Minogue to do a concert at the Hammerstein again? I know she's about to do a thing for the KT Utopia at Jones Beach in like 2 weeks. But I need her at Hammerstein again. Especially since y'all been promoting the Padam Padam song in America. But anyway, getting back to Madonna. In an interview with Apple Music Zalo, she's pretty big. So Madonna's pretty busy with the music. She's putting on with new music. And there's word on the curb that she's set to drop an album, a surprise album, around the time when she goes on this upcoming Greatest Hits World Tour. I'm hoping that's true, though, because we need some Madonna music. Now, in an interview with Apple Music, Zane Lowe, The Weeknd spoke out about how he'd like to make a full album with Madonna, saying, "The thing is, I've always wanted to work with her. I've always wanted to write and produce a Madonna album. Well, co-produce with her, of course, because she's a visionary and she has such a singular vision. And I just want to come into her world and create a classic Madonna album. That was always my dream. So this could be, hopefully, this is the appetizer for that." He also said a popular, "I'm proud of it. I'm definitely proud of it. Me and Cardi had this. I mean, we've jammed out before. We've had a different version of this song prior. So I've had these vocals for a while and I've just kind of worked around it and then kind of kept it in the tuck. But now it felt like it was time. It was time and it felt right at it felt cohesive with this album that I'm working on right now, or that I just actually finished. The Idol soundtrack, yeah. So I've been producing the song for a while. And then Madonna, Mad, she is the ultimate cosign for this song, for this album, and for this TV show. And you'll hear more of her in the show as well, too. She is the ultimate pop star." And I couldn't agree more with what he said. First of all, I live for the queen, Madonna. As for The Weeknd, I could definitely see them working on some stuff together. Like very babyface, like she'll work on a couple of R&B pop tracks. I'm sure she would want to work with, get that. She wants that Blinding Lights type of song, which I could definitely see her doing sort of like this 80s synth pop type track, which she kind of comes from that era. But I would love to see Madonna work with not only I don't want her to do a full album with The Weeknd. I can only take his actual music in small doses. Like there's a couple of songs I'll listen to and I'm like, okay, I've had enough of you. Like I can't listen to an album by The Weeknd all the way through. I can't. I've tried. I can't do it. I didn't even think he was all that great at the Super Bowl, but that's what y'all wanted. That's what y'all picked. Go off Nice. But if she does work with The Weeknd, I would like to see her work with other artists. I would love to see her work with some UK producers. I would like to see her work with Zenomania. I would like to see her work with Richard X. I like a lot of his production. I would also like to see her work with the Manhattan Click. I would love to see her work with Honey Dijon. Honey Dijon, speaking of which, dropped a new Pride DJ mix over on, if you got Apple Music, you can listen to it. Child, she gave me my life with that album. I listened to her working out at the gym. I'd also love to see her work with Cattrall. Like, I love Cattrall's music. Oh my God, what is the collaborative album that Cattrall just came out with? I forgot the other guy's name. What's it called? Catramine or something? Or Catramine, I believe is the name of it. Oh my God, the album is so good. I love one of my favorite tracks that he does is the one with Pharrell on it. Like the production, I just like how kind of off kilter the beat goes. I don't know, it's hard to explain, but I kind of like that whole hip hop aspect. And I basically only was aware of Cattrall because he did house records. But when you hear that he did more hip hop based, I'm like, okay, I like him even more. Like I watched his interview with Zane Lowe. It was he's not a good interviewer, but I'll say I love the album. I like how they were promoting the album and talking about the album, and I love that. I also love Kesha's new album too. If you ever heard that one, it's a really good record. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what other songs Madonna has cooked up for the duration of 2023. I got your message, production. Okay, so we were going back and forth with this whole Grayling Parnell story because he was telling me he couldn't get the clip. He wound up finding the clip because as the context, we need to bring that in so y'all could get the tea. But bitch, it's a lot. So yeah, I'm gonna give you time to get that, and we'll just talk about other stuff like Yvie Oddly. But yeah, to wrap up this whole situation, I'm here for Madonna. I'm looking forward to this tour. I'm going in August, the Saturday week before my birthday. I'm definitely gonna go see Madonna in concert. I'll do a little video and let you guys know how that concert was, because bitch, I'm gonna have to spill the tea and give my whole full breakdown. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to hearing what other music she has coming out. I'm really looking forward to hearing this song Vulgar in full. I've heard a little bit of Madonna's verse. I've heard a little bit of Sam Smith's verse. I'm looking forward to seeing the album, seeing the song, hearing the song, and hopefully a music video, because I did see something online where it was like some of the music in the beginning, you saw like some dancers in black and white. So I'm wondering if that's a prelude to the video. But anyway, I'm really excited to see what Madonna has coming out, because so far 2023 has been a good year for music, particularly dance music. Like, I love the new Alison Goldfrapp album. I love the new Jake Shears album that I just heard. It came out on Friday. His song with Kylie Minogue is everything. It's a really good record. He even has a track with Big Frida. So I'm looking forward. So Jake Shears has a good album out. Alison Goldfrapp has a good album out. Jessie Ware has a good album out. Roisin Murphy has a new album coming out in September. Kylie Minogue has a new album coming out in September. I'm still a little irritated the fact that y'all got me waiting until September damn 22nd for an album that kind of leaked online. But anyway, so Robert says it was just announced Ezra is doing one flash premiere and not the press tour. I also heard the reviewers didn't get the full movie to keep the ending secret. Eurodance is finally. Oh, so like you said in your previous post, you said you missed a show watching the TLC documentary. Earlier in the episode, I did mention something about Ezra Miller and the fact that Andy Muschietti, who directed the new Flash movie, and he directed It Chapter 1 and 2, a couple of other things, but we know him mostly from that. Andy Muschietti said that he has no plans of firing Ezra Miller and recasting for a new Flash. I don't know how that's going to sit with viewers. I don't know if fans are going to fully support the movie now. I don't even know how well advanced tickets are doing. I do want to see this Flash movie. The trailer looks really good. Michael Keaton is one of my all-time favorite Batmans, even though I do love Batfleck. So Michael Keaton, because that's my childhood. When I was in school, I think like elementary school, middle school, whatever. Me and this kid that I was a classmate with, Mario, we used to quote every line from freaking Batman Returns. I did hear Danny Minogue has a new song, but I haven't heard it. Because I go on Retro Pop. That's my other source that I go to for tea. And music in the second and third. I did not hear her new song, but I heard she has a new song out. And I want to see that show she's on too. The show that she hosts with the gays looking for love. But anyway, so we'll see how this whole thing works out with Ezra doing showing up at a Flash premiere. And yeah, maybe they should get part of the movie because, critics out here spoiling stuff. And I do love the fact that, this is a time that Eurodance is finally getting respect. I grew up on Eurodance music. That was like my shit growing up. I know, who was it that, was it somebody that we know or that we that you tagged? Was it Key Mac or somebody that said that, or somebody? No, it was. I think it was the group chat that we're in, the Rebel Hearts group chat, where someone mentioned that they grew up listening to dance music in the 7/3 and got made fun of. That's what I listened to when I was growing up. I'm stalling because we're trying to get that video. When I was growing up, I listened to a lot of Eurodance music. I would listen to Snap. I would listen to CNC Music Factory. I stay listening to 103.5, the new KTU. At one point, Hot 97 was Hot 103. That's how far back we can go with that. Then they changed it. And then RuPaul used to do the morning show with Michelle Visage. Like, I remember all of that stuff. That was like back in the day. But I used to listen to Snap. I used to listen to CNC Music Factory. I used to listen to Technotronic. I used to listen to Hadaway. What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. I used to listen to Real McCoy. Both albums, especially when they changed out the lead singer from the first one. They had these other girls up on there. It wasn't the same. But I'm glad that the original girl came back to Real McCoy. Aqua, say what you want about them, but that was my groups back in the day. Barbie Girl and all that other stuff. The song they had, was it Lollipop Candy? Was it Lollipop Candy? Or was that a Christina Aguilera song? They did have a song called Lollipop Candy. And don't forget, like I used to listen to Jasa Enriquez. I used to listen to Amber. This is your night, dancing free until the morning light. Together forever, cause this is your night. That was my song, bitch. So I'm glad that Eurodance is okay. It was Aqua, thank you. Because Christina Aguilera does have a song called Candyman, but Aqua had a song called Lollipop Candyman. But yeah, I used to, that was like, look, Eurodance is my shit growing up. So I'm glad that in a way it's making a comeback. Now, what another genre I would love to see make a comeback? I want to see freestyle. We need freestyle to come back. So it's like everything old is new again. So shout out to Madonna, and I'm glad that, you know what, she's back in the studio and she's making music, and I'm hoping all this stuff is true with the Christina and the Queen stuff, with the surprise album that we may be getting, you know, when we get Vulgar next week. We got Popular on Friday. You know, she's coming with the tunes. Okay, so let's get into this Drag Race story, because so now the other day, I was minding my expose, Lisa, Coro, Lisette Melendez, Lisette Melendez, Together Forever, bitch. That was my song back in the day. The other day, I was walking, when I was doing, back when I lived in Harlem, because I don't live out there anymore. But when I would walk from work to my house, I remember I was listening to that song came on. Oh my God, which one was it? Oh yeah, Karina too. You know, Karina, Temptations is a part of life. It doesn't matter if you're wrong or right. What was it? Lisette Melendez, Together Forever Yours. Together Forever Yours. That was my song. Especially the extended list, the extended mix. Bitch, I used to think about life with that song. That song will never get old. Look at y'all taking me back to the back, way back. But let's get into this Yvie story, because we getting sidetracked. We're talking about freestyle. So I was minding my business, and I just so happened to be on Twitter, and then I saw Yvie Ali had tweeted something, and this is literally minutes. And I'm like, oh, let me start. Forever Your Girl by Lisa, by Paul Abdul. But anyway, so I was like, let me grab these real quick, because I don't know if they're going to be up there for long, because you know people tweet stuff and then they try to take it away. So I was like, let me start screenshotting, because she went on this whole rant, Yvie Ali. And I think it stemmed from because she was watching All Stars 8. And then we saw like it was slowly starting to unfold, the drama between what the hell is her name? Oh, with Heidi N Closet. Because I guess there was a lot of gaslighting and a lot of craziness going on with the show. And she was just like, you know what, I got to protect my mental health. And if you saw Friday's episode, you know, Heidi N Closet basically just walked out the work where she's like, you know what, I quit this bitch. And she left. She was serious. She left the show. And now she can't perform in the fame. She can't compete in the fame game. Which is like, that's fine. I'm going to post my looks on my Patreon. Child, you should just post that shit on your Instagram. I don't know if people are going to pay to see that on your Patreon, but whatever. Go make your coins how you can. So yeah, Yvie Ali was watching the show, and then I guess that she kind of felt a kind of way because she started seeing like the drama and everything that was going on, and she just decided to tweet a series of stuff regarding about the production team. And what she said, Ms. Mama's threw some shade. So let me pull up the tweets. Now my phone will, but she said, catching up on All Stars 8, and I have two thoughts. Number one, these queens are remarkable. The drag artists are and have always been the lifeblood of what makes this franchise great. All the things we love, the looks, the catchphrases, the memes, the drama, it all comes from the queens. Two, the producers are often the greediest, most calculating capitalist culture thieves. They fuck with real people's lives, career opportunities, and health. They drive themselves home in their luxury cars when their contestants are sleep deprived, depressed, and drastically underpaid for their contributions to the cultural phenomenon. Ask any of the drag kings who have never been cast, or the trans contestants who were barred from being themselves until a few years ago when they realized how lucrative that representation was in the culture wars. Then they tell themselves that they're good people for showcasing queer content and creating opportunities for us while ignoring the irreparable damage they cause and creating a chokehold monopoly on how drag artists can succeed. Excuse me. P.S. They took over a year to pay me my winnings because they conveniently kept forgetting they owed me $100K. She closed off by saying, "Let me be clear. I am so thankful for Drag Race. That show changed my life long before I was ever part of its fiber. But I'm hopeful for a future where queer people have opportunities to flourish outside of a fake competition to make a few rich old gays richer." You mean including RuPaul? So, yeah, that was Yvie's statement, and I'm with her on it. Look, she has a right to speak her piece because she went through being on the show twice during her regular season and then all winter season. So she has every right to feel how she feels. And, you know, a lot of times they do this, unfortunately, because, and here's the thing, it's funny you say American Idol for gays. We had Adora Delano who was on American Idol who wound up going on Drag Race and becoming more successful there. Who had another one who ended up like in the situation of Heidi N Closet. She quit during her All-Star season. She did, and Ben De La Creme. Both on their All-Star seasons. They quit. So maybe it's, I guess it's a lot, but you know what? These producers do what they can to get what they need to get out of, you know, these fans. I mean, not these fans. Well, they want us, the fan entertainment, but they also, you know, it's just the way that, unfortunately, the cookie crumbles. Where's the thing that Bianca Del Rio sent? Because she said something too. A recent a recent post that I had saw, and I was like, oh, here we go. Okay, so what she put: when it comes to RuPaul's Drag Race, if you cry, scream, fight, mention a boyfriend, act like a cunt, mention a dead cat, act like a victim, and are completely delusional, let loose, I say let it loose, they will use the footage. That's because it's a competition reality show. Thanks for coming for my TED Talk. The Lucy LaDuca thing was my thing. I just, you know, when they said the completely delusion, I immediately thought of her. But here's the thing. It's like, look, I get the frustration of when you go in and you feel like the show perpetuates, you know, sleep deprivation. They're doing all these crazy things to you guys for their entertainment and just so that way they can get what they need to get out of you. But at the same time, you guys sign up for this stuff. You sign up to be a part of this franchise. And unfortunately, that's the way the cookie crumbles. I'm not saying it's right. And I do think that maybe what needs to happen is that the show needs to provide mental, like something to help you with your mental health or how you can handle dealing with toxic fan bases and all this other stuff post Drag Race. There needs to be some type of curriculum or something. This is the thing that we've heard for the longest regarding many a talk, many a reality show. We've heard it, America's Next Top Model. We've heard it from so many other shows where people talk about they went on these shows and they have to deal with the aftermath of, you know, producers and how they treat a lot of these contestants and how, of course, you guys aren't protected by the industry because you are not part of a union. You know, you're not SAG, you're not this and the third. Bianca could say all what she says because she's from a certain era where it's like you just suck it up, you go in, you do what you got to do, and you get out. Don't get too invested. Don't get too caught up in the, you know, the other stuff. Not everybody is as strong-willed as a Bianca Del Rio. A lot of people are sensitive. A lot of people don't want the backlash of the fans. So that's basically, unfortunately, how it is. So there's that expectation. And then I just saw that there was an expose that I believe I sent production about Kris Jenner on how she exploited her whole family because she wanted the money, success, fame, and glamour. How Kim didn't want to do the nude photo shoot for Playboy, but because they got the invite to Hugh Hefner house, she talked her into it with the whole pearls and all the other stuff, which kind of was the look that we saw that she wore at the Met Gala, remember? That's why I always call her Pimp Mama Kris. So to wrap this story up, the fans actually chimed in on what Yvie said, and they said the following. Thank you for speaking out, Yvie. We support you, and if there's anything else we can do to support the queens in a fight for better conditions on the show, please let us know, one person wrote. A second stated, honest criticism should never be taken as unappreciative. Drag Race gives a great platform for a lot of great reasons, but it also gatekeeps drag to an extent, and that's not cool for the largest platform of drag at the moment. But look, this is what I said. Like, when y'all talk about that gatekeeping drag, RuPaul's Drag Race was set out to be one thing. It was supposed to be like America's Next Top Model and Project Runway. So it was supposed to be y'all in the studio dressed up as men, and then you make yourselves over to become these glamazons. That was the concept of Drag Race. It wasn't supposed to include all these different aspects. They didn't think about it that way because drag was one thing at one point, or that was the mainstream representation. Cisgender men dressing up as women. Now, we all know from the way I grew up in the world of drag, trans women, and then non-binary, there's so many different aspects of people who did drag. But, because drag is ever evolving, and because RuPaul's Drag Race is at this point still the only big representation, the big mainstream show, what's winning like 59,000 Emmys. Yes, we have Dragula, but that's different. Yes, we have Queen of the Universe, but in my opinion, we need more representation, which I just watched the first 2 episodes. Mel B being a judge is a choice, and that's all I'll say. She replaces Leona Lewis, who can't seem to keep a job. But yeah, so it's crazy how, this is the way that it is. And I feel like this is why we need more representation. And usually when marginalized communities do not have enough representation, what happens is people want to hang everything on that one show. But if y'all don't want to let people in and do other shows because they're competition for you, then RuPaul's Drag Race, y'all gonna have to start being more inclusive, bringing in drag kings or AFAB queens, which they have. Victoria Scone was born female and does drag. They have a cisgender female on an AFAB queen on the current season of Drag Race España, which in my opinion this season has not been that good for me. I mean, I haven't really been enjoying it. Well, look, it's a lot going on. I'm sure there's going to be a lot more reality shows coming, maybe more Drag Race reality shows coming, because you know what? At this point, we're a month into this whole writer's strike. Hollywood's not budging. And I think soon SAG's going to be following, and so is the Directors Guild. We'll see. But it looks like Hollywood's about to get shut down big time. And you already saw Neil Patrick Harris was just, oh yeah, we got Drag Me to Dinner too. It's another drag show, which I watched the first 2 episodes of. And look, he told me he was supposed to start shooting the second season of Uncoupled. But the writer's strike is going on, so they're not filming until the writer's strike is done. And they're hoping that they could film it in warm weather. I don't know. We'll see how long this lasts. But good luck to y'all. Just know that if you're any future queens that want to go on Drag Race, just know that it's a lot that you're gonna have to deal with. And I do feel like this show, what they need to do is create a place for these girls to be able, like, something to help them with their mental health. That's the least y'all could do, instead of just hoarding these girls around like cattle and trying to squeeze so much juice out of the lemon, and then they're all broken and screwed up by the time the show is done. Okay, so let's get to the final 2 stories. Because I'm going to be going to Queen's Pride tomorrow, and so if I see y'all there, say hey, because I will be in the build. Well, I'll be around, and I'm getting there early. So Grayling Parnell, who says he does fashion, but girl, I couldn't name one fashion thing that he does. You are no Law Roach. I guess he did some styling, whatever the case is, and all other stuff. But anyway, he's been notorious and in our circles a lot of going after barely legals, grooming them. There was one he had that was a boyfriend. They had to sign an NDA, tattooed his name on his face, and then they broke up. So the boy is running around, I guess, with Graydon's name tattooed on his damn face, which you are the fool for that, but I get it. When you're young, you do a lot of dumb shit. We've all been there, and we've all done dumb things in our teens, and when we were barely legal. So I don't know. The recent boyfriend, I don't think signed an NDA because recently, child, he basically outed Grayling and his whole HIV status. And when I first got wind of this, I was like, I got to send this to production because I don't think they were aware of it. So I had to send them the Twitter link, and I gagged. So the same way the host, I can't remember the queen name because all of a sudden black bloggers got to be putting wigs and shit on, thinking they funky fucking Dineva when they want to spill tea. Even Funky don't even put wigs on his head anymore to get attention. When he gagged, was like, I did the same thing at the same damn time. I was like, yeah, what are y'all doing? So anyway, I want to play y'all this clip to give y'all some little nuance. Shout out to Deco Aesthetics. He did the story, but I knew the tea way before that, and I was like, well, I definitely got to come do the story now. But anyway, so yeah, this is the clip, and then we'll come back and we'll talk. Oh yeah, he does OnlyFans. Oh yeah, it's a lot. So
this one's age in particular, ranging from 17 to 20 to 18. So I mean, at this point, it's up in the air how old he actually is. But yeah, they both came online and say how Grayling would pull him by the hair, would toss him around, and would basically attack him. And Grayling had to continue to double down with his insults on him, saying, look at your body, lift up your shirt, look at your body, look at my body, basically demeaning him and degrading him for his physical appearance, until the boy finally went for Grayling's status. Nico, his HIV status.
Look at this. You was so tell him how you jumped off the third floor balcony.
Because he
So
grabbed
why
my
you
hair.
jumped off the fourth floor balcony? You scared of me. I beat you up. You still got the same braids in your hair, you dirty ass bitch. You stink. You literally stink, bro. Show them how sex you are, bitch. Show them your body. Lift your shirt up. Lift your shirt up. Lift your shirt up. Show your body. Show your body. Show your body, bro. Show your body. Show your body. Show your body. Show your teeth. You dirty bum. You dirty. You dirty, bitch. But you keep calling me though. But you keep calling me. But you keep calling me. But you keep calling me though.
You take your pill at this moment, right?
Get a storyline.
Suck my dick. Mind you, we broke up. I left your ass. I left you.
He said go take your pill. Oh.
Well, you cut it at the best part because that was when he was going to say what it was, and then he was supposed to gag with the face. But for the most part, what he basically was going to do was when Grayling cut off or hung up or didn't want to be a part of the Bigo video anymore, the ex revealed that Grayling, excuse me, my nose, my fucking allergies, Grayling is HIV positive and had to go take his HIV medication. First, when I heard that was a gag because, anybody who's spilling tea and reading and this, that, and the third, it's, in my opinion, no place for anybody to spill anybody's personal information. And I don't know what the laws are because I think there are in Atlanta, but Grayling can press charges for somebody spilling their personal information. So that's why I don't like Bigo. Y'all be going on there. Y'all just, all y'all do is sit and argue and do all that crazy stuff for attention. And while it's cute or whatever to get that juicy scoop in the tea and this and the third, HIV should not be used as a way to weaponize against someone, especially when we've come a long way with this virus. And it's a prominent disease within our community, specifically amongst Black gay men. Now, I hope that Grayling is going around informing a lot of the young boys that he's hooking up with of his status, and not just out here being laying it low and spreading it wide and not telling people. But then on the other hand, because Grayling is a predator and seeks out these boys that are young, dumb, and full of cum, do I feel sorry for this man when he is an apex predator? You literally seek out, you're a man in your 40s, lying about your damn age. I don't know if we could say alleged because the facts is out there. He has openly admitted that he goes after all these young boys and this, that, and so I don't even think it's alleged. I think it's an actual fact. He says all this shit. He posted on social media. So the problem with a lot of y'all is y'all go on here bragging thinking the shit is cute. And then when people bring it up and use it against y'all, then you want to try to backpedal and pussy pop and act like we the crazy ones. I don't know what a 40-something-year-old man gets out of hunching a child. I don't see nothing sexy about no fucking kids. I really don't. You're already making our community look bad because they already look at us like we're a bunch of damn groomers and pedophiles. You already got people out here thinking that drag queens out here grooming children. Nonsense. Quiet as this cap. I know y'all, a lot of y'all don't want to hear this, but a lot of drag queens don't even like your fucking kids. They don't. I know people that'll read to them. I know a couple of drag queens that do the drag queen story hour, but for the most part, a lot of the drag queens don't want kids in their establishments. A lot of drag queens don't even like your fucking children. So I don't know where this whole story of drag queens grooming children is coming from when we got pedophiles in the church molesting your kids, priests, pastors, the like. This idiot out here going after young boys, grooming them, making them sign NDAs. Why they got to sign an NDA for? You ain't Raven goddamn Simone, where you need to be having people signing NDAs because you don't want them spilling tea about what you doing to them. And then talking about the boy's body, but it didn't stop you from screwing them. And how you at 40 years old and your go-to read is lift up your shirt, lift up your shirt. The boy looked like he's skinny. So what body fat he got on him? He probably looked like your typical basketball player build. Now, as far as the boy goes, I don't know his name. But I'm not surprised that he would go and use that as a read. When you're young and impressionable and you don't really have that much life experience, your go-to is going to be whatever you could grasp at. So you're going to use someone's sexual status or STI or whatever the case is as a read. I'm not saying it's right, but that's just the way the cookie crumbles. And I think we really need to talk about, in our community, sexual abuse amongst young boys. Wasn't there just a story that came out that a correction officer is getting her ass thrown in jail excuse me, for blowing a damn 15-year-old inmate? So they out here grooming your kids, abusing your kids, taking advantage of your kids. And what I don't get is the overall hypocrisy. Y'all look at women sleeping with young boys as a rite of passage. Oh yeah, he a man. No, sexual abuse is abuse, regardless of who's doing it. It shouldn't matter the gender. We shouldn't only just go and want to throw men under the jail for doing it, but then you want to give a pass to women. Hearing stories, I heard a story about a teacher having sexually assaulting one of her students. There's a lot of crazy people out here. So while I don't think it's right to be out here spilling tea about somebody's status, and the video was just disgusting, and the shock value of it all is just like, ugh. But I honestly do not feel bad for Grayling. Now, what you out here doing, what you doing to young boys and leaving them all, you know, fucked up emotionally. I wonder what happened to the kid that he dumped, you know, on the side of the road with the tattoo on his face, and all the other boys that you most likely have done harm to, either physically or mentally. Because what is there that a grown-ass man who's in his 40s gets out of being with a kid, other than you're looking to manipulate and control and groom them? Because kids don't know no better. I've been in situations where I've hooked up with older men, and it's like, oh, it's cute or whatever, and it's dangerous, and you're living dangerously, and you're doing this, that, and third. But a lot of times it's, you don't really have nothing in common with these men. They're looking for something to control. I didn't have that life experience. I have it now because mother has lived. But you just gotta be careful out here. There's so many young boys out here that don't have no kind of guidance or people to support and protect them. And it's unfortunate. And people like Grayling should be stopped. Just saying. Okay, so let's get to our final story, which is after 30 years, you know, with the success of what I like to call the visual gay Bible, Paralyzed, which, by the way, I should say is on HBO, well, Max. I think I'm gonna just keep calling it HBO. I hate the fact that they call it Max now. The name is so stupid. But anyway, so Paralyzed is like what I like to call the visual gay Bible. I absolutely love that movie. I watch it every chance I get. It's just something that is engulfed in my whole spirit. One of the legendary ballroom stars, Venus Extravaganza, is about to have her Jersey City home landmark designation status. Now, according to NewJersey.com, I was going to say NJ.com, Extravaganza's home is located in the Hamilton Park neighborhood, and it's where she lived with her grandmother and filmed her interviews for Burning. NewJersey.com noted that the landmark designation is an intentional effort to preserve the city's LGBTQ+ history, especially at the moment in which many states are looking to erase any mention of queer and trans people from social curricula. Well, from school curricula, I should say. While many do they teach queer history in schools? While many other states have scrambled to deny trans youth access to gender-affirming care, Democratic Governor Phil Murphy has... Oh, sorry, Phil Murphy. What is wrong with me today? I was like, I'm not reading correctly. You want to talk about reading? Let's talk about reading. You can't read, bitch. Okay. Democrat Governor Phil Murphy has done the opposite, making New Jersey a safe haven for trans health care. Murphy signed an executive order in April directing state agencies to protect people accessing gender-affirming care, including people who travel to New Jersey to access it. Now, Extravaganza was killed in 1988 at the age of 23 prior to the film's release. Her murderer was never found. Extravaganza joined the house from which she took her name in 1983, according to Dazed. She is one of the dominant personalities in the film, and her line, "Touch all of the skin," an oft-quoted legendary line amongst queer people to this day. It sure is. To many people, Extravaganza was an early image of a young trans woman living authentically and happily among those who loved and supported her. I should also point out that her story was actually used in Pose. You know, when Candy, sweet refrain, when she ended up dead in a hotel room, her story was basically taken from Venus in Paris is Burning. A lot of times, Paris is Burning was referenced throughout Pose, including Electra's scene with Dorian Corey, where they had the dead body and the air fresheners, all this stuff. That's taken from Dorian Corey. Now, in an interview with NewJersey.com, Burning director Jeannie Lewiston underscored the importance of landmarks to commemorate LGBTQ+ people who made history. Or, what was the line that Duran Bernard said? Ajabete quoi? That's what he calls LGBTQ. Lejabete quoi? I was like, oh, I'm taking that line, child. That actually sounds way fancier than calling it LGBTQ. LGBTQ. Sounds French. Anyway, so they said LGBTQ people live in our cities and towns, but we often are invisible, Livingston said. There are virtually no statuses, or no statues, sorry, of us. Historically, there aren't so many records of us, of our own chosen families, our ways of expressing ourselves, of our relationships and our family of origin, to our accomplishments. Giselle Alicia, the current mother of the House of Extravaganza, told NewJersey.com that she was inspired watching the 23-year-old in the film. She was also instrumental in getting Extravaganza's home considered for landmark status, saying, and I quote, "To me, they were magnificent." Extravaganza said they were beautiful. I couldn't believe that they were so proud to be themselves and they own themselves. And that was interesting to see that in the 80s and 90s, you had someone like a Venus Extravaganza who was just unapologetically her and lived her life to the fullest until she saw fit, which is what Angie mentions in the documentary. It was like, that, I always told her to be careful out there, and her being just this spontaneous spirit got her killed. Unfortunately, someone just decided to dim her light because maybe she was a little too free. She was out here making her coin how she, by any means necessary. And I love the fact that they've made this a landmark. And you know what? I do feel like while we have people like Dumb Satan, or Dumb Santas, as I like to call him, I call him Dumb Santas, Satan, you name it, we got names. Trump called him Sanctimonious. I'm like, that's kind of stupid, and that's too much of the roll off the tongue. So I'll say the Satan, because he is worse than the devil. But anyway, so while you got these people trying to roll back rights for trans people and try to ban drag queens from performing and all kinds of other stuff, I do think we need to preserve our history. And, we need more programs that can shed light on queer history, because if they're not going to learn it in schools and stuff, we need documentaries, we need biopics. We have the we have the upcoming biopic about James Baldwin with Billy Porter, and I love seeing like the little documentaries, and I've been reminding people about Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia Rivera, like thanking them for what they've done in moving the gay rights moving forward. And we have to keep reminders of those. We need to pass down the information that I learned growing up as a baby gay, and passing that down to the next generation. So, in Pride Month, let's just celebrate Pride. Let's really push the envelope. Let's push the, be out loud and proud, but also be careful, because, with so many bills on these politicians' desks and them trying to use, LGBTQ people or LGBTQ people as a scapegoat for their own bullshit, as a distraction so they can rob y'all, while they're trying to push all this anti-LGBTQ hate all over people. What we need to do is we need to be vigilant, but we also need to be careful, because I'm sure bashings and things are going to be on the rise. People are anti-LGBT discrimination. It's going to be on the rise. So just make sure that while we're out here being our out loud and proud selves, and we're being vigilant, that we're also being careful. Like, carry a blade, carry some mace, stick a bat up your ass and pull it out and beat their ass if you have to. I don't know, do something, but don't let these motherfuckers play y'all out in these streets. So yeah, so congratulations to Venus, and hopefully we get more historical moments like this in the future, because we got to preserve our history, especially our queer people of color history. But anyway, so I want to thank you all for watching. I know this was a long episode, but it's the first time we've been back after 2 weeks. I will keep you guys updated on the upcoming season of Chris Avalon Unfiltered and what's all doing with that. If you are in the New York area and you are watching this, I will definitely see you all at Queen's Pride in a couple of hours. I will definitely probably be marching in the parade. I'll be at the festivities. I'll be eating. I'll be drinking. I'll be merry. I'll be kikiing with the girls if I run into people I know and all that good stuff. So yes, thank you all for watching. And until next time, ciao, darlings. Oh, look, we're still recording.
This is for faggots.